You're listening to The Pete Sheppard Show.
Consider running Drake in that situation. That it's a short yard situation. You know he can run.
You said it, I didn't.
Consider running Drake in that situation. That it's a short yard situation. You know he can run.
You said it, I didn't.
Consider running Drake in that situation. That it's a short yard situation. You know he can run.
You said it, I didn't.
Consider running Drake in that situation. That it's a short yard situation. You know he can run.
You said it, I didn't.
I'm at a loss. I am absolutely at a loss. I don't get it. I just don't get it. Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Unless you're a Patriots fan. You know why? They stink, and they're the worst coached team in the NFL, and it's not even close. Good morning. Morning. Welcome to another edition of the Pete Sheppard Show here on the Coastal Sports Network. Thanks for checking us out here on the video platform. As always, follow me at PShep326 on Twitter, X, Facebook. So especially our friends up at Tampa Joe's in Tampa, Facebook, SR1029 The Game, SR1029TheGame.com, Ion TV, CSN Florida, Rumble, Kick, Spotify, LinkedIn, Twitch, on YouTube, and of course, call and text the show at 727-858-6650. What the hell is this? Amber Alert. Okay. Well, hopefully everything will be okay. Welcome, everybody, and good morning. It is the Pete Sheppard Show, and yes, indeed, this is Gerard Mayo's response as to why Drake May wasn't allowed to do a couple of quarterback sneaks on
Consider
inches.
running Drake in that situation. That it's a short yard situation. You know he can run.
You said it, I didn't.
What does that mean? That Alex Van Pelt called the play, obviously, that dunce, and you just said, okay, so is that a throwing of Alex Van Pelt under the bus? We're going to get to all of it. Patriots get humiliated yesterday, and I'm going to eviscerate them in the first 15 minutes because I'm going to give you a to-go list. And it'll be pumped up, too, with good music effects and sound effects and all that stuff. It's going to be great. These people have to go. Meanwhile, we're going to recap everything in the NFL, the Philadelphia Eagles fans. I'm your man. I am your man. I told you that what happened earlier on last week with Brandon Graham was probably going to galvanize the team, and it did. And they came out firing early and often. Jalen Hurts did while he's playing with a busted finger on his non-throwing hand. And they really laid it on to the Pittsburgh Steelers overall. An excellent game. Brown and Hurts looked like they, none of this, whatever that nonsense was last week, none of it mattered. This is not your last year's Eagles team. This is this year's, and you still may say what you want about Nick Sirianni, but they have overcome, adjusted, and adapted. And that team right now, there are a lot of people saying Super Bowl or bust. They should be. And only because considering that the Lions are so banged up on defense, hell of an effort yesterday. Great game with Buffalo. And congrats to the Bills once again. They just look awesome. But the Philadelphia Eagles right now, to me, they are the favorite in the NFC to get to the Super Bowl. As long as they stay reasonably healthy like they are. And they are reasonably healthy. When you look at the rest of the NFL, you look at the Lions defense, which, there's only so much banged up stuff you can go through. The Eagles are a relatively pretty healthy team when you look at it. Right now, anyway. I'm not trying to jinx anything, but that was a hell of a win yesterday and a hell of a performance by the Eagles. And still, I believe since 1965, Pittsburgh has not won in Philadelphia. We're going to get to all that. Some college football news. Still reaction from all over the country about Bill Belichick taking the UNC job. We'll hear from Tom Brady. We'll hear from the broadcast yesterday. We'll hear from a lot of other people that you know and respect. They talk about Bill Belichick. Bill Cowher yesterday on CBS. Had some well wishes for him. There's a lot of people with a lot of good thoughts about Belichick, and he spoke at the UNC basketball game last night. And Chapel Bill is catching on very quickly. So I'll also have from Friday Ryan Clark eviscerating and destroying Aaron Rodgers. Look for Doug Peterson to get fired today. Adam Schefter came on yesterday. pregame or around 11 o'clock in the morning on NFL Countdown, and pretty much Basic Con was saying if the Jaguars put up a crappy effort, that Doug Peterson may be gone by the end of the day or by today. I mean, they should have done it like 6 weeks ago. I mean, if they do it today, and to make matters worse, to lose to the pathetic Jets, I mean, that just was ridiculous. But I looked at every single game last, so we're going to get to all of that. There's a little bit of NBA and NHL news as well. But you look at the Eagles winning yesterday over the Steelers, 27-13. Tampa Bay destroying the Chargers, 40-17. I told you, I'm your man for Tampa Bay, and I'm your man for the Eagles. I said it back when they were 4-6. They were not going to lose again, meaning the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they are not. And there isn't anybody that's going to want to play them going forward. This was their toughest game, I believe, left on the schedule. And they just clobbered the Chargers in the second half, clobbered them on the road. It's a great win for Baker Mayfield and Todd Bowles and company. And the Buccaneers are looking fantastic, as are the Philadelphia Eagles. And do not be surprised if it is those two teams that end up in the NFC Championship. As good as Detroit has been all year, they are really banged up right now. I'm still not counting them out, nor am I counting out the Minnesota Vikings, except for one thing, Angel Martinez. First of all, good morning. Second of all, I am starting a campaign. I started the campaign last week. I fabricated the rumor about Arch Manning transferring, maybe to North Carolina, which may not be the case, but transferring out, and even though Quentin Ewers' name. Now I'm going to start to fabricate this rumor. I want Brian Flores back with the Patriots. I don't care what you have to do to pay off the Vikings. I don't care what it is, what's left of this contract. I don't know. But I want to pillage him. I want to steal him. I want to kidnap him, just like they did Santa Claus and Red 1, which is a fantastic movie that I saw over the weekend. That's what I want. I want him back with the Patriots. He is an excellent coordinator, and he's probably a damn good head coach as well, as you saw his record in Miami. But Tua is too mean to me. That's my quarterback. Yeah. So they ran him out of Miami because Tua didn't like him because he went poopy pants every time Flores yelled. But I want the Patriots to pillage the Vikings. I want my defensive coordinator back, God damn it. I want him back. I want him back now. I cannot take anymore what I saw yesterday from the Patriots. The only thing that sucked was it was a 425 game with the other three really good 425 games going on. So I had to sit there. Not only that, my wonderful neighbor next door, Mike, who was with me and a bunch of other guys, we had a little guys' day yesterday here at my house watching the games. But to sit there and be embarrassed by whatever the fuck that was on the football field in Arizona when you had 2 weeks to prepare and you just sucked ass yesterday trying to play football. That was embarrassing beyond belief. It's the worst loss of the year, in my opinion, by far. And there were a lot of people that need to get out of that organization today because you embarrassed me in front of my friends and you embarrassed yourselves. I can't stand it. I'm going to have a nervous breakdown if they don't do something today. Shit. Good morning, Angel.
Good morning, Pete. If your neighbors aren't awake, they're awake now. So that's it.
Of course, today. I put the air on because even when we had some weird weather over the weekend. Saturday, it was weird. It was like supposed to be sunny and around 75. And all of a sudden, we got, at least my part of Fort Myers anyway, we got this misty rain, right? And I'm watching stuff and I'm watching the Army-Navy game, and it's like I look at the temperature; it's like 72 degrees. But then I go to the thermostat, and humidity's up to almost 80%. So that's it. Got to shut the doors and put the AC on, otherwise bad things can happen. But anyways, it was a weird weather type day. So the doors have been shut, the AC's on 71, and I'm fired up today. I'm happy for your Eagles. I'm glad I was absolutely 100% right. I'm your guy. We'll get to all the highlights, but how was your weekend? And good morning to you. How are you?
Good morning, Pete. Other than the Army loss, which I was hoping they were going to find a way to come back.
Why did they not show up? I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, that was bad. It was so
they were outplayed from the get-go.
Yep. It was bad, and I was hoping it would show up, not just because I was from the guest in the house. That's something completely different. But to me, it's one of those things that you would have thought the team would have showed up. Just because we're all waiting for a really good game and Navy showed up, Army decided just to hang out in the barracks. I don't know what the deal was, but it was completely polar opposite. But you're right, though, because the nice thing was at least the Eagles end up winning. I know GBG sent me a message last night saying, am I going to go back on the bandwagon? I told him, nope, still not. It was nice to see A.J. Brown, which a lot of stuff last week had nothing, a lot to do about nothing, but it was a good win.
But it could have been. If this happened last year, especially this time of year, this is right when you guys started to fall apart. It might have been a different scenario, a different case last year. But they got out in front of it. It may have been very overrated, but it certainly it had a lot of headlines. Yeah, maybe the media, hopped on a little bit too much. But when you have Brandon Graham come out on a big-time sports show at WIP and say what he said, yeah, it's just cause for red alert. But like I said, I thought it was going to galvanize them. And I told you, everybody during the week, watch the first quarter. And, man, they came out firing. And you would never have known anything that happened. And they looked like, if not the best team in the NFL, top to bottom, they're right there. They're 1-2. Right there, because they have the offense, they got the quarterback, and now Brown and he are in sync. You already got MVP candidate in Saquon Barkley, and you have the number one defense in the league. That is a recipe to get to the Super Bowl. Now, the antithesis of that is what you saw in Arizona, which was dog shit, absolute dog shit, and I'm being kind. But your Eagles deserve a lot of praise, Angel. Because last year's team, I think, would have got eviscerated in this game by the Steelers, and they didn't. They came out firing like nothing ever happened, and good for them. Kansas City in the AFC, you saw what happened with Patrick Mahomes. He got an ankle injury. We'll find out how serious it is. And the Chiefs are hanging on by the skin of their teeth as well for the number one seed in the AFC. This few games, we got a few weeks left here. Big game from the Minnesota Vikings tonight. Problem with the Vikings is trying to catch the Lions, and they play again at the end of the season. But the Lions have a better divisional record right now. I think 6-1 to 4-2, and they have a better conference record. That's what the conference record is: 6-1 to 4-2. They have a better divisional record as well. So huge game for the Vikings tonight against the Bears, because that's a conference matchup. And they're at home. Minnesota should win. The other game, and I hate this, we have an 8 o'clock and an 8:30 game tonight on Monday Night Football. Why in the hell are they scheduling two games on a Monday night at this late in the season? Yeah, I don't get it. But Chicago at Minnesota and Atlanta at the Raiders. And, we got not only does college football playoffs start Friday with Notre Dame hosting Indiana, but Saturday, lots of big games in the quarterfinals for the college football playoff. And you've also got NFL. We got two games on Saturday as well. We'll get into all of it. So how was the rest of your weekend?
It was good. Had yesterday the girls, USF Women's Bulls, ended up playing South Carolina again. Not the outcome that they wanted. It could have been a lot worse the way South Carolina was playing yesterday. They attempted to make a run in the fourth, still came up short nonetheless, but it was a good test for them as they're getting ready now for conference matchups here next month and then rolling through until we get to the tourney. Hopefully.
Did they play down there at their place?
They played in South Carolina. They didn't play at the Union Center. Yeah. So they traveled to South Carolina with Don Staley and crew. But the good thing is they didn't allow 90 points. It's been 20-plus games. They have not allowed any team to score 90 on them. So there was not a good positive that came out of there. Coach Fernandez might have different say-so about it, but nonetheless, it came out to be positive. And then getting ready for the bowl matchup here locally at Camping World Stadium on Friday. That'll be at 12 o'clock. Jacksonville State, goodness gracious, Ohio Bobcats, Jacksonville State Gamecocks. On Friday, that'll be the Cure Bowl, which we'll be covering, so we'll be there. I won't be here, obviously, Friday. I'll be there on Friday in Orlando, so that'll be a good time to cover that. And then hopefully hear the Rely Quest and the Pop-Tarts Bowl coming up. So overall, pretty good weekend. Other than yesterday was kind of surprisingly warm. Ended up being about 84, 85-ish degrees. It was supposed to be 80. So that was nice. And then we get to see a real small boat parade for Christmas up at Crump's on Saturday night. So we ended up watching the game at Crump's. Always a good time. Always excellent food. So we went up there, watched the boat parade.
I saw your pictures. That was cool.
Yeah, but it was fine though, because last year it was a lot longer. It must have been like 40 boats last year. This time it was like, we're doing about 10 and circle around twice, but nonetheless, that was good. And then this Saturday, for those who live here locally in the Tampa area, down here in Hillsborough, of course, it is the big boat parade for Christmas, which normally I would say is at least 100 plus boats that get decorated. Some people do really well, and then some people have sound systems that you can hear all the way from Pasco County.
Oh, I bet.
Hillsborough.
I bet. That's great, though. I love to see that kind of stuff. That's awesome. Of course, we're spoiled down here, and the people are tuning in in the rest of the country, which we're heard in every single state, even Alaska, right? We're even heard in Alaska now, right?
Sure.
All over the place, 52 countries. Kazakhstan, as always, hello. I don't know why that was always. Europe, hello. We're on every continent except for Antarctica, I believe. Have we got an Antarctica?
There might be. I don't know. I have to check the satellite towers.
I hear it's a balmy 2 degrees there this morning.
Yeah, it's lovely this time of year.
But we are present in all the continents, except maybe Antarctica. Big show lined up for you today. Sean McAdam at 9:30 is going to join me. We'll finally get into because was tied up a couple of times last week, but we will finally get into the Garrett Crochet signing by the Red Sox and some other baseball little tidbits from him at 9:30. But at 9:00. 2 very special guests coming on, Lisa Mann and Kerry Phelps. And you've heard me talk about Lisa before, from the Scottish Terrier Rescue of the Southeast. And they're going to come on with me at 9:00. And it's a fascinating organization. My beautiful Scotty Luna that we got there a few months ago, she has just been amazing. She's the sweetest dog. But I want to do something to help them. I want to raise some money for their unbelievable organization because the vet bills are outrageous. And they're going to come on at 9:00 and explain and talk about, what I'll try not to embarrass them because you talk about angels and both of their husbands as well are law enforcement people. So it's a group effort. But Lisa and Kerry are big parts of it. And I cannot tell you how touched I am when you see their webpage and you see the sad stories initially when they come in and from some of the people that I would want to call the police on, to be honest with you. And then what these wonderful people do, people like Lisa and Kerry, what they have done to not only not rehab the dog, but to sort of train them, give them warmth and love, and take care of the veterinary bills. There was one case that we had one dog that had to have 11 teeth pulled a couple of weeks ago. It was unbelievable. And now she just got adopted by a wonderful family, I think in North Carolina, if I'm not mistaken. But they get calls all over the world and all over the country for these dogs. So anyway, we'll get to that at 9:00. It's an amazing story from some amazing people, and I want to do what I can for this whole week to try to raise some money for their outstanding organization. Chef Med says, "Fly Eagles fly." Hey, so the text line is bigger and brighter too now, it seems, Angel. Did you do that too?
See,
senor. All right, I gotta get it. Go ahead.
No. It's always, it sucks to hear about a dog having 11 teeth pulled. I mean, listen, there's some folks, we understand it. There's times where, yes, with the economy, different things happen. We get it. We understand it. And it absolutely sucks when, unfortunately, you have to make a decision whether if you have to let go of your dog, try to turn into a shelter. Because there was an incident down here not too long ago in Tampa where this guy decided to take his dog, beautiful freaking dog, took the dog, put it in a dumpster. So the dog.
I know. It's just, look, Luna was on sale. My dog was on sale at one point on Facebook for $10. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And there was another, like I told you, there was another dog that that just got up for adoption, and they do an unbelievable vetting process. So I'm going to save it for 9:00 because there's so much to get into with those wonderful people, and we want to raise some money. And now I'm in not a wishy-washy mood, but I got to get back into my the Patriots have to go mood. Rick says, I predicted Eagles by double digits. Check. Media ran with a non-issue. Check. I'm Rick M., and I approve this message. Well, you keep saying it was a non-issue. I'm saying it was at least somewhat of an issue. Maybe some of the media overhyped it, but I said we will find out early and often if the Eagles were going to let that fester and turn into last year. And I said more likely than not that they were going to get it together. And anybody who didn't have A.J. Brown in their fantasy team yesterday, I hope you did, like I did immediately. That was my first pick on my FanDuel page on my FanDuel team yesterday. And he had a touchdown, well over 100 yards. He was excellent. You could just see they from a passing standpoint look like an entire different team. Then you look at my team, my Patriots, who they wouldn't let Drake May throw a pass over 10 yards in the first 2.5 quarters. 0 for 6 on third downs for the day. Pathetic. More penalties on the offensive line. Arizona 10 of 15 on third downs. 2 weeks to prepare for this Arizona team that has not been playing very well at all. And that is the shit that you point out, and you embarrass me in front of my neighbor and in front of the NFL. You look at every single team yesterday, and even the Browns, and the way Kansas City won 21-7. But look at every single team that played yesterday, and you tell me what team out there was worse, was coached more poorly than Gerard Mayo and the staff for the Patriots yesterday. I'll settle for it. I can't think of one. I look at all the scores. I've seen highlights of every game. I've watched most of the games. Everything. Tell me what coach was worse yesterday in the NFL. I can't think of one. None of them. What an absolute disgrace and an embarrassment. And with that said, Angel, I have come up with a list. This is going to be like if we were introducing players coming out of the tunnel.
Right.
Are you ready?
Sure.
Are you ready for this? These are the people that have to go in this organization. First up, that has to go from the New England Patriots. Let's start with the players. From Illinois, number 59, Fedarian Lowe, left tackle. Next up, center, Ben Brown, who can't snap the ball from here to there without hitting the ground. From Mississippi, Ben Brown. Also, number 64 out of Texas A&M and College Station, left guard, Layden Robinson. There's a lot more I could have put on this list, but we're short of time here. For the coaches, let's start with, and I've said this a million times all year, offensive line coach that has to go, Scott Peters. Also, assistant offensive line coach Robert Kugler. See ya. Get out. Also, senior offensive assistant Ben McAdoo. Offensive coaching assistant, Michael McCarthy, get out! More coaches, offense coordinator, Alex Van Pelt, get out! Defensive coordinator, DeMarcus Covington. I can't believe this. Get out! Leave my organization. Get out! And finally, I'm sorry, Gerard Mayo, you're a wonderful man. You'd probably be a great linebackers coach, maybe even a decent defensive coordinator, but you stink as a head coach. Get out! There you have it. There is my list of Patriot players and coaches. Get out! It is an embarrassment to watch how this team has gone backwards. And the ineptness, incompetence It's just, I could sit in front of my television as I did yesterday and call every fucking play. Every one. It is so unimaginative. I've never seen anything like this. Freaking Rod Rush teams were better than this. This is ridiculous. And don't block me, Facebook, because I'm playing too unlimited too long. You can stick it too. Gabe, you think you could, your pathetic little brains and fingers have the right to edit me. Take that. And take all these Patriot people I just said and get them out. And start. And Jonathan Kraft yesterday and Robert Kraft are sitting up there, and Jonathan's like, Jonathan won't do pregame stuff anymore. He used to do always did pregame stuff on 98.5, the Sports Hub, the flagship for the Patriots. Nowhere to be found. Crickets. I mean, you see him at games, you see him shaking his head, and he's got to be partly responsible, if not mostly responsible, for allowing this organization to become what it is, which is awful. Jesus. Embarrassing. I got to do it. I mean, hang on. I got to do it. There's only one person, and you know I was going to do this. But it's just this is it.
Big fucking problem. Yes, I do. Man, fuck me. This is wrong. Oh my God. This is wrong. It's just wrong.
Get three more going.
Three more people.
It's fucked.
Yes.
We're going down in flames.
Yes, you are.
Titanic ain't got shit on us.
That's right.
I'm done.
Yeah. So am I.
You. Get out. Get the fuck out of here.
Get out of here.
Did I not say they were done? I will let you fucking know when you fucking keep leaving it there. Just leave
okay.
it alone.
Get out.
I had it fucking
Get out.
perfect.
Hey, where are you guys?
Right here, Chef.
I've spent 18 hours with you guys today. I give you everything I got. And that's the
Me
bullshit
too,
you
watching the
make me
Patriots.
go to Chef
This
Ramsay?
sucks.
Make me look like a dickhead in front of a dining room.
Yeah,
full of
you look
people.
like dickheads. Absolutely
I'm
did.
beside myself right now.
Yeah, you should be.
I can't look at you guys anymore.
Get the hell out.
Wake up.
Yes, Chef.
Wake up.
Oh, my God. Absolutely unbelievable. An embarrassment that has become an embarrassment. I feel so badly for Drake May. And the only other player on the team yesterday was Gonzalez, who was outstanding uncovering Marvin Harrison Jr. I salute him. Gonzalez was fantastic. Number 0 for the Patriots. The rest of the team played like a bunch of fucking zeros. It's absolutely humiliating, embarrassing. And Gerard Mayo comes up with that freaking stupid answer about should he let Drake May run. He's like, you said it, not me. What the hell does that mean? Is that throwing Alex Van Pelt under the bus? You're the head coach. You can say to Alex, you know what? No, let Drake do it. We're talking 4th and millimeters. 4th and millimeters. And they can't get a first down. And then they do like a 26 toss. They don't have an offensive line that can block that. You're starting off 4 yards, 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage. No, I'm not taking it easy. At least for the next few minutes. I'm not taking it easy. I'm going to take a break is what I'm going to do. Then I'm going to come back and recap. The Patriots don't even deserve highlights because it's just lowlights. It's just, but we'll get to some thoughts from some of the Arizona players, and then we'll recap an excellent football team in the Philadelphia Eagles, and they did a great job yesterday in beating the Pittsburgh Steelers. We'll have that. A lot of fun games. Disappointing by the Seattle Seahawks last night. They didn't show up. They looked a lot like what Army looked like against Navy. That's the best analogy I can make. And kudos to Green Bay, but that was Seattle. And the home team had won the last 10 meetings between those two teams. So there goes another trend out the window. We'll get to the highlights of the Buffalo-Detroit game, which was a very exciting game. Tampa Bay eviscerating the Chargers in L.A. It was absolutely it was beautiful to see. And a whole lot more. As I said, coming up later today, Sean McAdam at 9:30 from MassLive.com. We'll talk some MLB stuff. And then Lisa Mann and Kerry Phelps at 9 a.m. with the Scottish Terrier Rescue of the Southeast. They are just wonderful people, what they do. And we're trying to help them out this week and get them some money for the wonderful organization that they do in rescuing Scotty Terriers. And Luna may make probably an appearance at 9 o'clock as well. And so that and a whole lot more coming up here on the Pete Sheppard Show. More NFL, more reaction to Bill Belichick taking the UNC job also coming up in the next half hour right here on the Pete Sheppard Show and the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Jimmy the Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our second location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish. Now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu.
Hey guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it gardenia. It's pronounced Jardiniere.
Hey everybody, it's Pete Sheppard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft, implement, and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them, sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check out my friend Lou DiMuzio and Ace Technology Advisors.
Ion Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, iontp.com. Ion Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by Ion Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dad, your prescription will be ready in just a minute. Hey, Dad, your laundry will be ready in just a minute. Dad, your lunch will be ready in just a minute.
Hey, honey, why don't you take a minute?
When you help care for a loved one, you give them as much time as you can, making sure they're safe and comfortable. But it's just as important that you take some time for yourself. At AARP, we can help with information and useful tips on how you can maintain a healthy life balance, care for your own physical and mental well-being, and manage the challenges of caring for a loved one. Because the better care you take of yourself, the better care you can provide for your loved one.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you.
You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides to support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving. That's aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
All right, class. Let's hear what everyone did this weekend. Jill?
Well, I raised my older sister to a big oak tree. It was at least 100 years old. My mom said I must have set a record or something. And then we went down by a stream and perched up on this huge rock and saw all of these little minnows swimming around way below us. And then I rescued my little brother from an evil slug king who was guarding him at the bush fortress. And my sister and I brought him back to our super twig fort for safety. And then we all laid out and told stories until it got dark. And the Big Dipper led us all the way home. Wow. Awesome.
Where were you, Jill?
Yeah. We went to the forest. It's not that far away. Anyone want to come this weekend?
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week and find the fun, adventurous you. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Don't spaz out because your team lost. Let Pete do it for you. Now, back to the Pete Sheppard Show.
I think offensively we can be better, but, it definitely feels good to come out with a win, especially a win that we felt like we should come here and do what we're supposed to do. And to come out here and do it, it feels good.
Consider running Drake in that situation. It's a short yard situation.
You said it, I didn't.
Welcome back to the Pete Sheppard Show here on the Coastal Sports Network. How's everybody doing today? That was Carla Murray, and then that was Gerard Mayo trying to explain why he wouldn't let Drake May do any quarterback sneaks. It's just unbelievable. Welcome back. It is Monday, December 16th here on the Pete Sheppard Show on the Coastal Sports Network. Every time I hear that cut, I'm going to break out in a rash because I just don't know. Why don't you just say that I disagree with Alex Van Pelt's decision, and why not? Why didn't you overrule him is the other big question. Just unbelievable. Penguin AZ says, good morning, Angel. And chat, Packers finally played a full game on both sides of the ball. 7 sacks, LFG. Yeah, you did. And he injured Geno Smith. No, they played a hell of a game last night. The Seattle Seahawks they looked out of it early. Rick says, in case you weren't aware, Jalen Hurts was dealing with a broken finger yesterday, though it was the non-throwing hand. Yes, I mentioned that. Everybody should know that by now. Did mention it, but thank you. Appreciate it. So I feel horrible, Angel. I went up during the break, and usually when Peanut Gallery's here, she comes home later this afternoon. When she's working out in the other office area, that Luna's usually in her one of her 5 beds is right next to her, or she perches on the couch. But when I went out there, she was not in the corner. She must have heard me yelling. And she could tell she was a little upset. So I gave her a treat and comforted her. So she's fine now. But she was off her couch and she was just giving me that look. I'm like, oh, I felt horrible because that's nothing to do with her, obviously.
Right.
But sometimes I usually have the door shut, so it's not as vocal. But I guess I might have overdid it for her. But she's okay. She's awesome. She'll be joining us at 9:00. She's such a good girl, sweetest dog in the world. All right. Meanwhile, thanks for joining us here on the Coastal Sports Network video platform. And always text or call the show 727-858-6650. Before we get to your Eagles, let's go with Tampa Bay. Let's go with a positive. Let's go positive here. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have been on a roll. I told you when they were 4-6, I didn't think they were going to lose again once Mike Evans came back. Baker's been playing great. The whole team has been playing great. They are revitalized and rejuvenated, recharged. Tampa Bay clobbers the Chargers 40-17. Let's get to some of the highlights of that one. Let's see. Oh, how about Jalen McMillan, first quarter?
Before their game against Cleveland today. Mayfield, wide open, McMillan, walk-in touchdown. His third in the last 2 games, and that was as easy as it gets.
But essentially, you're going to get the little rub route on the outside to McMillan. You see him attack vertically first, and then everybody just gets caught up.
Yeah, absolutely. And you could talk about that. That was early on in the game. That made it 7-0. And then how about this one?
Empty set, blitz coming. Mayfield out to the left. Throws on the move for Mike Evans, who gets loose. Down the sideline, Mike Evans. It's a touchdown for Tampa Bay.
Well, watch this offensive line right here. They're going to set with depth and help each other out. Pass off the games. I mean, I love that. They just wad it all up in the middle and give Baker a chance to make plays in these second effort plays.
It's so nice to hear about compliments for an offensive line. It's so nice. I remember back in the day, it used to be nice to have an offensive line that could actually protect your quarterback and not false start or hold on every single play. Not anymore. It's just refreshing. Brings a tear to me eye, Angel. It really does. All right, here's more. Here's Baker Mayfield on his awesome performance.
Right next door to the locker room for the Rams. But it's, familiar with the place. But this group that we have is really why we just had a good game. I mean, talk about the 2 turnovers we had in a row there in the first half. Defense stepped up, didn't let them score 2 touchdowns in a row, and that was really the turning point. Came into halftime, offense said if we don't inflict or hurt ourselves, we'll be all right. So defense came out, stopped them, and then offensive line took over, and that was really the biggest difference there in the second half. Those guys played unbelievable up front, and defense, complimentary football game.
See what he said, Angel? The offensive line took over. The offensive line took over. Wow. That's what it's like. That's what it's like. The offensive line took over. When will I ever be able to say those words again about the Patriots? When?
Next year.
¿Por qué? Pourquoi? As we ponder that, deep thoughts about offensive line play. All right, meanwhile, here's more from Mike Evans.
You guys were trailing at halftime, 17-13, and then 27 unanswered Bucs points. How are you guys able to flip the script in the second half?
We just kept playing. We don't panic in these moments. It's just football, and we're a close-knit team. I don't know who needs to hear this, but do not fear. Stay faithful. God got you.
Mike, in that third quarter, you had 2 touchdown catches. A day you had 9 catches for 159 yards. When you get rolling, how tough is it to stop you?
I like to think I'm one of the best, in the game, and I got the opportunities today and help my team win.
Mike, you know what it takes to win in December. You guys have been in this position before. What has been the difference since the bye week?
Since the bye week, guys got healthy. I got healthy. A couple other guys got healthy, and we just stayed the course. We know what it takes to win in this league. It's tough week in, week out. We just got to stay prepared.
Yeah. Offensive line helped too. Then you look at the Patriots yesterday. That Arizona lost 2 linebackers, Angel, 2 starters in the first 5 plays. And they still couldn't do anything offensively. And it had nothing to do with Drake May. He did as well as he could. Finally let him loose a little bit in the fourth quarter in garbage time. But anyway, Chargers head coach Jim Harbaugh. By the way, it sounded at SoFi as usual like a Tampa Bay home game, like it does for everybody else who plays in that stadium. There are a lot of Buccaneer fans there. Here's Jim Harbaugh.
My vantage point is, this is life. It's football.
Life.
We've seen the good times, and today we're looking at staring adversity, and it's how we respond. That's where my mind is on to, getting ready for this next game.
Ooh, ouch! Very subdued, Jim Harbaugh. All right, let's get to a couple of videos here. If we can, Angel, let me see. Okay, let's scroll down. First off, to awful announcing. It's a few down. This was Tom Brady yesterday during the broadcast on Fox talking about Bill Belichick. We're going to get to some Bill Belichick stuff. I think I'm going to save the Eagles highlights, which were many, in the 8 o'clock hour, so I can give it the proper respect that it deserves. Okay, so here's Tom Brady talking about Bill Belichick going to UNC. See it under awful announcing. It's only a few down.
Yeah. By the way, did you happen to notice that during his introduction at UNC, the Eagles chant came out?
No, when you're talking about when he was at the basketball game?
Yeah.
No, I did not notice that.
Oh, I'm going to have to find it then because, they busted out with the EAGLES chant.
Bill Belichick going to college.
I know. Kind of blew me away when I heard the news. I didn't think that was an opportunity he was looking at, but they're getting obviously tremendous coach, and being in that locker room with him for as many years.
Here's Gainwell dicing his way to the 10.
Those guys are going to play very hard. He's going to coach them well, and it's a great benefit for all those players who are going to that program because they're getting the best coach that this NFL has ever seen.
Yeah.
Now he's at a college level.
There's no question about any of that. I just want to know, give me a little feel for the Bill recruiting is going to be. Like, give me a little feel, the phone call.
The thing is, he's not the warmest and fuzziest of all time. So it's not like there's tons. I mean, I can remember one year after we won the Super Bowl, our first year, we got in the limo. He was out on Bourbon Street after we beat the Rams in 2001. And we got in the limo after the game. The next morning, to go to the MVP press conference. And he goes, you know what, Tom? You had a pretty good season.
Pretty good. Here's Gainwell. And he's going to have another first down, which will take us to the 2-minute warning.
So that was
good.
That was about as warm and fuzzy as it got with Coach Belichick.
Look, I can tell you this, and I'll give you another reason here coming up in a second. Bill Belichick, those, and a lot of people I respect, and I just completely disagree with. I'm holding my ground on this one. Bill Belichick is not going to have to jump from town to town and city to city and flight to flight to go sit down with these kids. He can do it through Zoom, whatever he wants to do. It's not going to matter. Here's a perfect example as to why this happened on Saturday, I believe. 4-star quarterback Bryce Baker sticking with North Carolina. He was going to transfer until Bill got there. And it will sign on Wednesday. Building his legacy in his home state, and Bill Belichick played a major role in his decision. This is what he said, quote, with Belichick's experience and connections, he can get my teammates and I up to surpass our goals and more. And that is going to be the mantra for that entire North Carolina Tar Heel organization. He is not going to need, I'm sure he will do a little bit of that, but I don't think he's going to do a lot of it. They upped in no money from $4 to $20 million. He's got 30 staff assistants on his team to handle a lot of the pedantic blathering that goes on. But it's basically going to come down to the words that he said, which is going to be a pipeline to the NFL. And already Bryce Baker is sticking around that he normally would have transferred out of that program, but he's staying because Bill Belichick. And I promise you, I already told you last week that there's going to be a lot of people that are going to react just like him. He is his name and reputation is going to do a lot of the recruiting, whether you like it or not. That's the way it's going to be. Meanwhile, more on this subject here. Here's Adam Schefter talking about Bill Belichick's situation.
Let's take you through this as best we can. And I think it starts with Bill being selective about any job that he would take as he surveys the landscape of teams with openings or with potential openings. He's smart enough to look ahead and see how it's going to shake out. And I don't think that he viewed there being a match that was waiting to happen for him at the National Football League. At the same time, other teams were selective in their own ways. Last year, Atlanta bypassed him when there were people around the league who thought that deal was getting done. And it was tracking to get done until it didn't. And then Washington did have some contact, but was so far down the road with Dan Quinn that it wasn't going to waver from its stance. And so Bill Belichick is open to anything because at his core, he's a coach and he wants to coach and he doesn't want to get shut out. And Carolina calls him. And now everybody's wondering if he'll stay there. The buyout is set up to where it's $10 million in June 25th. First of all, I had teams call me this week. They're laughing at the number, laughing at the money in the NFL. If they want to go after Bill Belichick, it is so simple to get around that buyout, either included in his contract structure. But Bill Belichick didn't go to Carolina with the idea that he's leaving. If it comes up at some point in time, it doesn't work out there, and there's a match, then again, he would be open to going back to the NFL. But I think that he was selective. Teams didn't look at him, and he didn't give them the chance to look at him this upcoming cycle. He set up the buyout so that there is flexibility, even though he has no plans to leave. And I'll tell you the underlying feeling about this. There were calls that I got this week from people on coaching staffs and front offices, and they were sad. They were sad that the greatest coach in the National Football League has left the game, creating a loss for the NFL to go coach at North Carolina.
My reaction.
They
right
were
there.
sad.
That was my reaction.
Yeah, we'll get to Teddy Bruschi's comments in a second. Here's Bill Cowher on Fox yesterday, also wishing Bill Belichick well.
So for a second here, Bill Belichick in college football. Bill, that's an expression, a tie-in that we didn't think was really going to take place.
Well, I think the one thing with Bill Belichick, he's a football coach. He didn't want to sit out another year, and he was not going to get the opportunity and maybe in the NFL, and he had to make a decision on college. And I just think the fact once he made it, he was also out this year, he was in the college scene. His son's coaching out in Washington. He was doing game day. I think he became kind of enthralled into that situation, and I think he'll be good for the game. You talk about what he brings to it. I learned two things from Bill Belichick, about humility and respect for the game. And humility and respect are two things I think young college football players are like. It's going to be a pipeline to the NFL. I hope he stays. He didn't come to leave, and I wish him nothing but the best, except when they play NC State.
All right, and one more video with this, and just a couple down from Awful Announcing. Teddy Bruschi, he talks about the situation as well. He's sad to see Bill in college, wants him to be in the NFL. It's like 3 down. Yeah, thanks.
What are we doing here? I mean, with Bill Belichick going to coach North Carolina, I mean, college football, there's only one bowl game I want to see Bill Belichick coaching, and that's the Super Bowl. Okay, I don't want to see him coaching some lawnmower bowl in December or January. I mean, that's just not who I am. I mean, this is a guy around this table so many times about poorly coached football teams, okay? And the NFL just let the best go. I don't know how there wouldn't be any interest as to where you bring a Belichick in and he makes you come immediately relevant and well coached by who he is. Would he make one of these teams that needed a head coach this year an immediate contender? I mean, yes. He would. He is that good. Now, he's not going to be on the level of 6 championships, New England Patriots or anything like that, but your team would be competent from the get-go. I mean, and then it's on your players. So I can't believe that Bill Belichick won't be in the NFL next year. And that's something that was my initial reaction to a lot of some of the same ones you got, Shefty, because I don't know how this happened.
Well, look, if Khan, say in Jacksonville, for example, had fired Peterson like 6 weeks ago, like he should have, and rolled out the red carpet and started the process, he very well may have ended up in Jacksonville. But I think he's already laid out his reasons why and others, and I don't think he's going anywhere except North Carolina for at least 2 years, maybe 3. And like Adam Schefter said, he could get out of the contract today. There's a lot of loopholes where he could get out of it. But that's not going to happen. I'm telling you, he's going to. You talk about the lack of ego for going after Schuler's record now, but he's got more to prove that he can do this on the collegiate level. And I am telling you, guys like Baker, who 4-star quarterback that he got, said it's because of Bill that I'm staying. And a lot of others are going to feel that way as well. All right, this is Bill being at the Chapel Hill at quote unquote the Dean Dome the other night and being introduced. I saw some of this, but I didn't hear the audio. Go ahead, Angel. Yeah. Yeah, all right. He went 1-1 against them in the Super Bowl, can I tell you? And the other what's unbelievable is that Brady probably had his greatest Super Bowl game ever. 500 yards passing, bunch of touchdowns, and no interceptions, and just got Philly made more plays that day. All right, if we could scroll up one. Speaking of football, let's just get this. Dove Kleiman has this. This is Travis Hunter, who won, as expected, the Heisman Trophy Award the other night. And this is, I'm sorry for the audio in this, but this is the video. Check out his girlfriend and look at this. She seems to be very upset. Well, let me tell you something, honey. You better get used to the idea. I mean, I don't know how old she is, 19, 20, 21. I don't know what it is. I don't know what their relationship is. But she was very pissy that he had to sit there and take pictures with strangers, men and women alike. Here's how it went down.
His fiance. Oh, this should be interesting.
All right.
You go to the hotel, you go walk around. Five o'clock, everything's done. 4:30. We're together.
Can't find Matt. I called him twice.
Where's that coming from?
What's that?
No, that's Angel. Trevor, we're going to take one as a group, and that's it.
Yeah, just start right from the beginning. I want you to, because I'll tell you what she's saying.
Here we go.
There, Angel. She said, "What do you want me to do? I just sit here then." Really? Oh, you got to be kidding me. This is only the beginning.
Oh, boy.
This is only the beginning. What do you want me to do? I just sit here then? You're at the Heisman. He's a Heisman Trophy winner. He's going to be drafted probably in the top 5, more than likely 3. And all the experts, and I hope it's correct, have him coming to the Patriots, assuming, that everything is okay with Coach Deion Sanders, but that's more about his son. But Travis Hunter projected to become the next wide receiver, by the way, for the Patriots.
Did anybody clue her in that this is going to be life from now on?
If she has that attitude right now, what do you want me to do? I just sit here then. Are you serious? You're busting this guy's chops after winning the Heisman? And again, I don't know how you said girlfriend, fiance, right? I guess it's his fiance. But my God, honey, you better get used to the attention. This is nothing compared to what's going to happen.
No, because his life is not going to be any more normal than what it was already. So and it's only going to get worse. I mean, he's going to have between the endorsements, people's going to have to talk in meeting after meeting. I mean, I actually appreciate his mom coming on when the camera went to him, because he had talked about it afterwards. Like, yeah, I told you guys, don't go to my mom. Once she gets rolling, she'll get going. And his mom spoke really well. She talked about, if you want to make it, just basically do what my son did. And we made a good choice to move out of Florida, went to Georgia. I don't know what neighborhood he lived in, but I mean, she's going to get used. This is his new life. Whether you like it or not, this is his new life.
What do you want me to do? I just sit here then. Her quote. What do you want me to do? I just sit here then. No, okay. Why don't you go stand in the corner then? Go have a cocktail. Go do something. I mean, to sit there and get mad at him for taking pictures.
Right, but she should be mingling with the rest of. This is an opportunity for her also to kind of get to know everybody. So when he gets to know different people, oh yeah, I remember him. Like I see it other ways. Like when Debbie goes out to me with different places, it's the same way. We mingle, we talk to people. Therefore, it's never that awkward feeling. But if you're getting upset, I mean, once he was a Heisman Trophy winner, you should have already known the expectations were going to be ridiculous. And leading up to the draft combine for next year, just forget about it. Wow. Okay.
It's not the 9-to-5 job, my dear. It is not a 9-to-5 job. It is. You're going to find out very quickly. You better have an attitude adjustment, big time. And boy, that's off the door. But that's you kidding me? And he's going to marry her, and she's sitting there with her nice little fur coat and her knitted hat on, where it's probably 75 degrees inside. In New York at the high, and just that's got to make him feel crappy, to sit there and have her bitch at him like, what do you want me to do? I just sit here. Then, well, what do you want him to do? Leave a press conference after he wins the Heisman to go what? Suck down a few wine spritzers with you? You do that. Plenty of time for that later on. He's going to get as much pub out of this as possible, and the endorsements that he's going to get. She better not cost him any, otherwise you can say goodbye to that marriage.
Yeah, because
it's going to come up. They're going to say, "What's up with your fiance busting your balls?"
That it's not a good look, especially when you got fans that are coming up to him now and they're hearing this conversation, because everybody knows the minute you say something, it's out like wildfire. Mm-hmm. So the best bet, all she had to do was just sit there and smile for a little bit.
I'm proud of him. That's my future husband. I'm proud of him. Blah blah blah. I couldn't be happier. Smile, even if it hurts. Just smile and enjoy the moment.
Yep.
Wow. You're gonna marry allegedly the Heisman Trophy winner. And I'm sure she has a lot of great qualities in her own right. I have no idea who she is or what she's about or anything like that. All I know is that's my first impression of her bitching at him. What you want me to do? I just sit here then. Well, no, I would have said, well, no, you don't have to sit there. You can go sit over there or back there if you want. There's a lot of choices. You don't have to sit there. You can go sit somewhere else.
That's it. It's like
All
life.
right.
Life's about choices.
And here's a great choice. Head on over to Phil Castanetti's Sports World in Saugus, Mass. It's New England's place to buy or sell the finest in sports memorabilia. For over 35 years, Sports World has offered the finest in sports collectibles. And right now, it's the holiday season. And the Sports World loaded up with mystery boxes, jerseys, baseballs, pucks, and mini sticks. And they're all wrapped up and ready to go, Angel. Wrapped up and ready to go. You should see the picture. They're all wrapped up and ready to go. The mini sticks, the pucks, the jerseys, baseballs, all wrapped up and ready to go. That's at Sports World. Phil Castanetti Sports World at 184 Broadway in Saugus. Call 781-233-7222 for more information. Sports World in Saugus. Be there. All right. Quick break, Angel. When we come back, we will break down your Eagles' great win over the Pittsburgh Steelers in Philadelphia at the Link, where the Steelers have not won in that city since before I was born. We'll have all the highlights for that one as well. Coming up next here on the Pete Sheppard Show with the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Jimmy the Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our second location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish. Now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu.
Hey guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it gardenia. It's pronounced Chardonnay.
Hey everybody, it's Pete Sheppard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft, implement, and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check out my friend Lou DiMuzio and Ace Technology Advisors.
Ion Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, iontp.com. Ion Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by Ion Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
To some people, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much. But that's not necessarily true. By 6 months, they're combining vowels and consonants. By 9 months, they're trying out different kinds of sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on some meaning. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Early screening and intervention can make a lifetime of difference and unlock a world of possibilities. Take the first step at autismspeaks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
The following is made possible by Dad.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling all over it.
The dad joke. Corny, grown-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
Why do you have to be careful when it's raining cats and dogs? Because you might step in a poodle.
And kids that spend more time with their dads grow up to be smarter, more successful.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding.
And with any luck, funnier adults.
Why didn't the skeleton go to the dance? Because he didn't have anybody to go with.
Dad jokes rule. So take a moment to make a moment and give your kid a laugh. It's as easy as going to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
That's really funny.
Okay, men, this is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. It's up to you. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna go grocery shopping, cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments. Don't you forget about the pharmacy. I know you won't, because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. This is your time to show the world, your family, and yourself that you're tougher than tough. Now go out there and be the best caregiver this world has ever seen. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick and proud aunt. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing. But not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. 1 in 6. That little girl sitting alone at the playground, she can't play like the other kids. She doesn't have the energy because she's hungry. School lunch will be her only meal today. It breaks my heart that this is the reality in our country, but it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. This food is then provided to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about using your imagination, learning, and having fun. These children shouldn't have to miss out on simply being a kid because they're hungry. To find out how you can help end childhood hunger in your community, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
The Pete Sheppard Show. It's fun for the whole family, if it's dysfunctional.
Hurts firing one. Caught! Who else? A.J. Brown. Touchdown.
Hey, that passing game doesn't look off today. After you run the ball so much, this is just called a pop pass. You fake the run, you get everybody into the line of scrimmage, and then you pull the ball and throw the pop pass.
Tom Brady there with the call, the analysis at the end on Fox yesterday. The Eagles over the Steelers, 27-13. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Pete Sheppard Show. Hour number 2 here on a beautiful Monday morning. 62 degrees here in Fort Myers, wherever you are around the country and around the world in this great nation of ours. Hope you are okay. Thanks for taking the time to watch the show here on the and listen to it on the Coastal Sports Network video platform. Follow me at PShep326, Twitter X, on Facebook, also on Tampa Joe's Facebook page, SR1029 The Game. SR1029thegame.com. That's a great app that we have. Ion TV, CSN Florida, Rumble, Kick, Spotify, LinkedIn, Twitch, YouTube, and call or text the show 727-858-6650. Angel Martinez in the house together as well, doing an unbelievable job with all the stuff here on the network. Angel, we got some good stuff before we get into your Eagles and the dominating win over the Steelers. What can you tell everybody about what's going on with the network here? I thought we had some great news over the weekend.
Yep, we got some really good news over the weekend. We are partnered up with City Garage Motorsports. You guys can visit their webpage directly on the website there, sr1029thegame.com. Go to the link and you can see some info, bio about City Garage Motorsports. They have their driver, Becca Monopoly, who's in car number 85, which they will be making their full season debut on the ARCA Menard Series, which belongs to NASCAR. They're the 4 series down before you make it into, obviously, the NASCAR series itself. But they are launching in January, there's practice run that's going to be up in Daytona. We should be a part of it up there in Daytona as well, along with some local events. So that's going to be a great, great team up partnership with City Garage Motorsports. I can't thank Stuart and Jason enough for making it happen. And we had some good talks the week prior. So when you guys don't see me up on the screen, it's because I'm out there trying to hustle and do a couple things to keep making the network grow. We have some other talks going on tomorrow that hopefully will turn out into something well that we can release probably, hopefully sometime soon by the end of the year, if not the beginning of the year. But that should be another good take for the network. And then also a partnership with Gabriel Blender, who has a full contact sport boxing,
nice
kind of UFC fighting. I'll kind of word out a little bit better, but between him, myself, and Rich, doing a nice little setup here for the future of the company so that everyone ends up benefiting and we can all have fun with it. And more importantly, we being big happy family. Of course, Pete has been with me since day one here. Not only obviously here when we were somewhere else, but more importantly here because of the growth. Yeah, of the growth of the
Lord. We're like the Lord, Angel, right? We're everywhere.
That's just it. But it's been, with Pete, it's been a lot of fun in the morning because, everything kicks off in the morning with the Pete Sheppard Show. And it's just been fun to watch us grow, watch people come on board, help with partnering up for all the good reasons. It's never, when you want to do things, you want to do it for the right reasons. You don't ever want to do it, excuse me, to undermine and do any of that stuff because it doesn't make any sense. And Pete and I have always been on the up and up with everything, the same way with everybody else. So that's the great part about being here on the network. Everybody knows exactly what's going on. We also have a new addition to the Talking Hoop show as Ron Briscoe has stepped away for doing other things. As we're going to call him Doc Riley. Luther Riley is joining on Wednesday.
Riley. Love that.
He is, man, he was a blast. We had an interview process last Wednesday. That's why the show wasn't on. He was hysterical. We gave all candidates a half hour to kind of sell themselves and talk about them a little bit. And he was the first one out of the gate. And I will say this much. When you're the first one out of the gate with a bunch of energy and laughter and everything else, you have to kind of bring it up a little bit. But after him, that was it. It was like once you knew he connected, that was good. So he will be on at one point, probably at the start of next year, as we're getting close to the end of the season. Duncan Dad will be joining on his own show here on the network. So
awesome.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's in the freaking pipeline. And so 2025 should be super, super exciting. As we already mentioned as well, too, that the Global Basketball Association, all games will be the home here for sports radio. So not only we have the home for Garage Motorsports, also for the GBA and for other things to come. So yeah, it's growing. It's fun. It's a lot of work, I will say.
Who's producing the basketball games? Tell me it's not you.
Well, listen, I already put out a bunch of hats. So I must just.
I know. Jeez.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to clone yourself.
Pretty much. It's what's going to come down to. But listen, it's we've been having fun. That's for sure. After the pivot to Coastal Sports Network, it's been growing. A lot of people are noticing for sure. It's fun to go to the different events, whether it be the Lightning or USF or something else. And now, especially with the women's basketball, as last week I went to the after practice conference. And when guys are starting to approach you and ask you, like, how did you do it? Or, are you guys hiring or other stuff people are noticing. So every once in a while, you guys hear me kidding around about stuff about copy paste, but they always say it's always the best form of flattery, I guess. But there's a lot of it that goes on. If you pay attention to the bigger networks, you'll see a lot of stuff that goes on here that goes on now to bigger networks because.
Oh, no question. I look at some of the stuff that I have been doing for quite a while now, and I look at some other places, and I'm like, that's great. That's cool. Except I have thousands of more listeners than you do. But the 5 listeners that these other people have, some of them I'm like, okay, but not really helping your station. Now I'm talking about terrestrial stuff on the whole,
right?
Some of the people, and by the way, I'm not talking about places that I've worked in the past. I'm talking about other places that are around, not only this area but around some other areas. And I've noticed the copycat thing, but that's okay. That's okay. They're entitled. As long as people keep listening to this show, and I try to, put out the best product that I can with help of Angel, with all the great videos, and we have some fun. And yeah, I'm going to go on my rants from time to time. And poor Luna's still recovering. When I gave her another cookie. Still recovering from my 7 o'clock evisceration of the Patriots. I think she thinks I was yelling. She's way on the other side of the house too, and she was a little upset. Anyway, but speaking of that, and Angel's been amazing, absolutely amazing, and so was Rich Q Nunez. Great show. Love listening on Friday for a little bit as well. Everybody on the network is doing a great job. And you have Martinez and company coming up after this show today, right at 10 o'clock?
Yeah. So Martinez is coming to come up at 10 o'clock. Later on will be the drive with Q. That'll be about 4:45, 5 o'clock-ish. He's hoping to come back maybe by next year to some capacity, back to his normal 4 to 6 time, and then 5 days a week. So that's the goal for next year. Also, it'll be Beeves World at 6 p.m., 6 to 7. And then to close out the night will be Lloyd Vance's Insider Football with Lloyd Vance and Kevin Midget. I don't believe they have a guest on tonight, but it should be a good night with Lloyd because obviously, as Eagles fans, I'm pretty sure he's going to talk about it, and I'm quite sure the question will come up if I'm back on the bandwagon, and the answer would be no. I'm just enjoying the win, as Andy Reid always says.
First of all, you can neither jump on nor off the bandwagon because you've been an Eagles fan, so you're there. You can't.
Right.
You're there. So there's no such thing really for people like you about jumping on and off the bandwagon. You're there. It's there. Angel Martinez. Boom. Oh God, I'm just looking at. I'm trying to flip through. What is this? I'm trying to flip through some of the bad posts I'm seeing about the Patriots because I can't take it, and I want to get into. There's actually a pretty good Miami Dolphin rant going on here as well. By you've seen it before for Alshon Jeffrey, which I'll play for you in a second. But I did want to get to the Eagles highlights yesterday. They were outstanding at home at the Link. Jalen Hurts, 25 of 32, 290 yards, a couple of touchdowns, no picks. Barkley only had a piddly 65 yards on 19 carries, but who cares? It was all about the passing game yesterday. A.J. Brown had 110 yards and a touchdown on 8 catches. Devonta Smith had 109 yards and a touchdown on 12 targets, 11 catches. Brown, 11 targets, 8 catches. Outstanding game. Russell Wilson's first loss ever to the Eagles. He was 6-0 lifetime against them, including 4-0 in Philadelphia, but that was with Seattle and Denver. But he was 14 of 22 yesterday, very pedestrian, 128 yards and a touchdown. And the way that they overcame and adjusted and adapted to all the stuff that went on earlier in the week with Brandon Graham making those comments about the disconnect between Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown, and it certainly seemed that way a couple of weeks ago, but I knew in my heart of hearts that they would get it together, and they did. You could tell early that it was going to be a long day for the Steelers. At least I did. Could tell early. I know it was 17-13 at halftime, but it didn't feel that way. I felt like the Eagles were in control of that game from the get-go. So let's get some more, Sal. Let's get some more of the highlights here. A.J. Brown on his successful passing game yesterday against Pitt.
We haven't done that for me, man. That's our mindset. So it's easy for us to have these tough conversations to call each other out because we know what we want at the end, and it makes it easier when we're close. So.
Is there anything two more for AJ?
Is there anything that being on the same page this week is that we can prepare for that and take the next couple of games? We've got work to do.
Yeah, I think like I said earlier, the long repetitive meetings on top of the meetings that we already have. I think we may keep doing that.
All right. Here's more from Jalen Hurts, or here's from Nick Sirianni on Jalen Hurts in the offense yesterday.
You said repeatedly that you guys will be able to throw the ball when you need to. Do you feel like today was a chance to kind of silence the critics and say you can't?
I would actually say, look how efficient we've been passing the ball for the last 9 weeks, right, through this little stretch that we've been in. Jalen's I just think it kind of gets a little bit blown out of proportion. Jalen's quarterback rating's been over 100. Most of the games, I don't know what he was today, but most of the games he's been over 100. We're averaging 8+ plus, 8.5 plus in the pass game. Like, I just think a little bit's been a little bit blown out of proportion. As far as because we've been running the ball so well. I mean, you can't have all the yards rushing. There's only so many yards you're going to get in a game. You can't have all the yards rushing and have passing game. So, or have all the yards in the passing game too. And so I think we've been super efficient. Today we needed our passing game even more. And so it's just another good. I know you guys may look at yards a lot. Like, it was just another good day of passing game because I think we've been super efficient.
All right. He does have a little Mike McDaniel in him, doesn't he? Meanwhile, here's Jalen Hurts on the Eagles' 10-game winning streak, franchise record, I believe.
Love seeing that big smile out of Jalen Hurts, and you deserve it. You know the conversation outside the building all week long about the pass game. When are we going to see it? Well, you saw it today. Most passing yards in a game from you since week 3. Why? What worked, Jalen?
Well, it was a team effort, and I think the reality is just because we don't mean we can't. And we were able to get collective hands on deck this week and put up a good game plan so we come out here and play. I'm proud of how we played defense, played their tails off early in the game. We had guys make plays all throughout the game, and for the most part did a good job in protection. And T.J. Watt's a hell of a player. He made an impact on the game, but we just found a way. And that end of the game, that drive for about 10 minutes or so, that's big time ball. So.
You got to give yourself some love here, too, because you answered the questions this week when everybody was asking them to you, and you said in your press conference, I tend to thrive in moments like this. What did you go into this game keying in on?
I lean on my faith. I lean on my work. And all I can do is thank the man above in any moment, through the good, the bad, the joys, and the pains of life. They're all one and the same. And I just take it one day at a time. Go through everything and try and learn from every moment. And so even in this moment today, we had a week full of moments that we could have all learned from, and we did. And I think the same thing will be taken away from this game and being able to take a step back and build and grow and hopefully continue to trend in the right direction as a football team.
Wish the Lord would come and coach the Patriots' offensive line, or at least teach them not to hold and false start so many times. Meanwhile, Mike Tomlin, head coach of the Steelers, doesn't want to make this loss dramatic.
How do you keep this loss from snowballing and carrying into the next 2 games?
It's a loss. I mean, let's not get dramatic.
Here's more from Mike Tomlin on 93.7 The Fan.
Not as I stand here today, we had a game to play today. We wanted to win it, and we didn't. And so, some of that other stuff is less relevant to us.
Russell Wilson on the loss to the Eagles.
We got to tip our hats to them. They played way better than us tonight. It's unacceptable how we play. I think we feel like we got to be sharper. So we just got to stay the course and know that obviously we got a big week coming up. We got to respond. We got to get ready to go, and that's where our focus has to be.
Meanwhile, Jalen Hurts also had a rushing touchdown as well for the Eagles. And again, they were denied a shot at clinching the NFC East when Washington beat New Orleans early in the day. New Orleans went for a 2-point conversion at the end. Why not? And failed. And Washington won, which was good for me because I had a 14 parlay of just winners, not spreads. And cha-ching, that was the only one that was sort of in doubt in the in the 4 o'clock hour. As we heard, T.J. Watt, he got hurt, ankle injury after he chased down Hurts in the fourth quarter. He led the Steelers. He was leading the Steelers with 11 and a half sacks. It was a wait-and-see situation for him. We'll find out there. And Russell Wilson, stymied by the Eagles' defense. And I mean, they really did. The Eagles have the number 1 defense. And season low, 128 yards he threw for a 9-yard touchdown pass to Pat Freiermuth while falling 6-1 now, lifetime against the Eagles. So all I can tell you is Philadelphia right now, it's got to be in their head, Super Bowl or bust, because they've got a very good offensive team. They got an MVP candidate in Saquon Barkley. It seems that Hurts and Brown and Devontae Smith are all back on the same page now, and they have the number 1 defense in the NFL. So no excuses. Minimum NFC championship, and there isn't anybody that's going to want to play them. And I don't think anybody's going to want to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers if they keep doing what they're doing either. So we don't count out the Detroit Lions at all. We don't count out the Minnesota Vikings. But if you're looking at everybody top to bottom, the Eagles, if they're not 1, they're 1A right there at the top of the list as far as being a complete team and a pretty reasonably healthy team for this point in the season. So while Angelo does not need to jump on or off the bandwagon, you got to be feeling good, Angelo, about this win. You got to be.
No, I feel listen, it was a good win. I will take it. At least it wasn't a super, super duper slow start of we've seen in the past. It was good to see the AJ and Jalen obviously celebrating in the end. So I think it was good. There were some scary moments in this game for both sides, for both the Eagles and the Steelers, because we saw twisted ankles, weird ways of guys coming down. So it was just this time of the year, you're trying to prevent as many injuries as possible. But no, I mean, overall, I thought it was well balanced. It was good to see the air game because I think Pittsburgh was obviously ready for the run attack because they knew that the air game wasn't working so well. So I'm glad that FedEx and UPS decided to show up on the Eagles tarmac last night to be able to pull off the win.
Meanwhile, before we go to break, another one to highlight, another great game, Buffalo and Detroit, 48-42, and the Buffalo Bills continue to be very impressive, especially Josh Allen.
Dangerous to the left. He is big. And it's Allen easily going in, hopping home for the touchdown.
He was outstanding yesterday. We'll get to more stats from him in a second. How about this highlight to Khalil Shakir? Also on my fantasy team.
It's a little shovel pass, and it's Shakir with the Buffalo touchdown.
I think this is going to be a throwing touchdown because it's a sneaky play action.
Yeah, that made it. They were up big then at that time. The Eagles. I made it 14-0. Now this was the crazy play at the game, and this is where Dan Campbell has to take some accountability. I believe we'll get a cut from him in a second. But they're down by 10 points. It's 38-28, and with plenty of time to go, 12:42 to go in the fourth quarter, and Dan Campbell decides to have an onside kick. Didn't go.
Seems a little early, Tony, but here we go. 12 minutes to go. Onside kick. Ball bounces around, is picked up by Hollins, and he's running with it. Hollins tackled down at the 5-yard line.
Yeah, it was Dan Campbell. I have no problem with him gambling all the times on fourth down, different situations. That was the wrong decision, and he knew it.
Man, I just feel like we didn't play at the same level that team did today. That's how I feel, and that's why honestly I put this on me, man. I just didn't feel like I had them ready to go. Not like we've been.
Here's more.
Credit that team. They were ready to go, and we knew they would be. We knew they'd have a sense of urgency coming off of that tough loss out there on the West Coast, and we just couldn't quite match it. So, they did a good job. And ultimately, it's like I told the team, man, I didn't have those guys ready to go. Not like that. Not when you're playing a team like that. And, that's with me, man. We had a number of guys that, have played a lot better than that just overall. And so that tells me that's me, man. I didn't have these guys completely ready to roll. It doesn't mean I thought the effort was good, man. Guys fought. There was little things in there that bit us, things that, we knew we could not give these guys anything. It's too good of a team, and we gave them some stuff there. So, it's a tough pill to swallow, but at least we know now where we stack up against, one of the AFC's best teams, and it's not good enough. Not today. It's not.
Well, Josh Allen was outstanding, 23 of 34, 362 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He also rushed for 68 yards and 11 carries and 2 touchdowns, as you heard there. Jared Goff was outstanding as well. I know the last touchdown was kind of a garbage time, but nevertheless, 38 of 59, 494 yards, 5 touchdowns, and no interceptions. They just couldn't run the ball yesterday. It was all throwing. They only rushed for 48 yards total. The Lions did. St. Brown was outstanding. Obviously, 18 targets, 14 catches, 193 yards and a touchdown. Laporta had 111 yards on 7 receptions. He was targeted 10 times as well. Gibbs had 83 yards. I mean, it was a high-scoring game of the year with 90 points there. The total at kickoff, ended up being at 56. But great game right there. A lot of people said possible Super Bowl preview, which it certainly could still be. And but that's a hell of a win by the Buffalo Bills on the road, particularly after coming off that loss to the Rams, 44-42 last week. So what do? They gave up 42 points again, but they score 48 this time. So Buffalo, it certainly seems at 11-3, and depending on what happens now the rest of the year with them, they get the Patriots twice. Who else they get in this? They get the Patriots next week. They get the Patriots get them right where they want them, right where the Bills want them. Just looking ahead. So the Patriots, no, that could be quite ugly next week. Absolutely. So next week it is the Buffalo's home to the Patriots, and then they're home to the Jets, and then they close out in Foxborough against the Patriots. So I expect them to go 3-0, and we'll see what happens with Kansas City, and we'll see what happens with Patrick Mahomes and his ankle injury.
All right. I got a question for you before we go to commercial break.
Yeah.
Since Robert Kraft was one that was all in on Gerard Mayo, does this make him look silly as far as not believing in what Gerard Mayo was going to end up bringing to the table?
Well, I mean, they made this hire like 4 years ago, apparently. This was in the works from like 4 years ago that he had been rumored, and a lot of people, that are close to the team said this was no surprise. They started this 4 years ago. For the life of me, I don't know why. I don't like bringing in head coaches that don't have any head coaching experience. I hate it. There's too many other good coaches out there in the National Football League. And as much as I think Gerard is a good linebackers coach and maybe be a good defensive coordinator, it was the wrong move. Now, when they did it, I said, okay, let's see what happens here. You don't want to trample on a man's grave before he even gets to coach one. But they have gone backwards, and this staff is a joke. It's an absolute joke. Offense coordinator is a joke. The offensive line coaches are pathetic. I don't know how these people have made it this far. They have been awful. And yeah, I know the offensive line is bad. It's a lot of fucking excuses. I don't want to get mad again. There's a lot of excuses going out there. It's the same stuff that goes in and you heard who was commentating yesterday? I forget. How many times did he say in the game, if you were watching that game mostly like I was, and most of you weren't because there are way better games on than that, but what's his name doing the color commentary on Fox he said this multiple times about multiple players. They just don't look like they know who to block, and a big part of that were the people that I want kicked off the team. Ben Brown, the center, who had trouble snapping the ball yesterday. Verdarian Lowe, who's been absolutely pathetic all year long. I don't know how that guy still is on this team, the left tackle. And Layden Robinson, the left guard. That's just three. I mean, it's so bad. It is so bad. And then all the offensive line coaches, Scott Peters, Robert Kugler, Ben McAdoo, Michael McCarthy, get them out. Get him out. Alex Van Pelt, and that play calling was awful. Gerard Mayo, with no explanation except to say, well, you said it, I didn't, as far as why Drake May wasn't allowed to do a couple of quarterback snakes. It was awful. It was the worst, by far, the worst coach game by any team in the NFL yesterday. Not even close how bad it was. All right. We've got a couple of Monday night games coming up tonight. Chicago, Minnesota. We'll preview that next. And also the Atlanta. No, not boring. Not if you're a Minnesota Vikings fan.
That's it.
Win this. They're fighting for the number one seed.
Exactly. No, if you're a Minnesota fan, sure. Bears fan, boring.
Oh, well, the dynamic Debbie, your significant other, is a Bears fan. She'll be tuned in.
Yes.
And be disappointed. But see, this, you can be disappointed as a Bears fan. You don't have to be humiliated and embarrassed like my team. I don't think that will happen to the Bears tonight. I think Minnesota's going to win, but I don't know if any team can look as pathetic as the Patriots did yesterday. Once again, on both sides, horrible, and not Drake May's fault at all. Just a pathetic offensive line and a defense that just is, again, no adjustments made. They stink, absolutely stink. All right, quick break. When we come back, preview more Monday Night Football. Coming up at 9 o'clock, Lisa Mann and Kerry Phelps are going to join us from the Scotty Terrier Rescue of the Southeast. It's just an amazing thing. It's going to brighten up your day. These amazing women and their significant others doing a great job at rescuing Scotty Terriers. You're going to love it, and my lovely Luna is one of them. She'll try to get her to come on with me for a little bit at 9 o'clock. I'm sure she'd like to see Lisa again and say hi. It'd be great. Anyway, that's all coming up. Then Sean McAdam at 9:30. We'll talk some MLB stuff. NBA and NHL rundown as well coming up. All part of the Pete Sheppard Show here on a Monday on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Jim and the Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our second location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish. Now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu. Hey guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it gardenia. It's pronounced Jardiniere.
Hey everybody, it's Pete Sheppard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft, implement, and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check out my friend Lou DiMuzio and Ace Technology Advisors.
Ion Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, iontp.com. Ion Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by Ion Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I gotta tell you, I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me.
Me too, but I'm glad we are.
Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and life experiences come together through conversation, and it feels good.
Wow, your story is so...
Interesting?
Yeah.
When people actually sit down, talk, and listen to one another, they can break down boundaries and connect as human beings. At lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep, you can listen to amazing, life-changing conversations and find simple tools to start a conversation of your own.
I know one thing. This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope, too.
Take a step toward bringing our country and your community together by having the courage to start a conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Whoa! Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Woohoo! Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie.
So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
You want the best in sports and entertainment?
You got it. Now, back to the Pete Sheppard Show.
So another big third down and 4. Murray lofts it. McBride's got it. And McBride keeps on his feet and is finally ripped out at the 22-yard line.
Murray coming out, and the threat of the run brings the linebacker up to allow McBride to adjust and come back, and he just touch passes it right over the top. A beautiful play, and then McBride making Jabril Peppers pay at the end.
They absolutely stink. Thanks to the call on the Fox yesterday. That is one of Kyler Murray's scrambling. Should have been sacked. Just absolutely pathetic. And the Patriots humiliate themselves and lose to the Arizona Cardinals. They had 2 weeks to prepare. Instead, we get this for an answer. The question was, why didn't Drake May get a chance to do quarterback sneaks in situations? There were several times yesterday that drives got stalled 0 for 6 on third down because of this, and because they were doing 26 tosses to people on an offensive line that had no chance to block for guys starting 4 and 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage. But a simple question after the game: why wasn't Drake May allowed to do some quarterback sneaks?
Consider running Drake in that situation. That it's a short yard situation. We know he can run.
You said it. I didn't.
You said it. I didn't. Angel, if we could refresh before I get the preview of the games tonight, if we could refresh, right underneath on NBC Sports last night, Albert Breer talked about Gerard Mayo's comments after the game with, I think, Tommy Curran is there as well, one of the great reporters in the NFL. So very interesting conversation there. I think it reiterates what I've been talking about, but these guys were at the game. I believe they were in Arizona, and this is really interesting, this conversation. You see it?
I see it, but did you happen to see how it's facing?
That's sideways. Who cares? That's all right.
Okay. So those are.
I know what, Angel. I'll just play the audio. You're right. We'll just do that. I'll just play the audio from here. No need for you to do it. I'll just play the audio from here.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just do it from here. All right, here we go.
If I'm wrong, guys, but that felt like he was throwing Alex Van Pelt under the bus.
Yeah, that's the only reason you're comparing it to that. Was this a bad? So what do you think of the comment that was made?
I just think that's a really hard thing to come back from, because the players see that, they see the lack of accountability, the other coaches see that, and so let's say you come out of this year and you're not happy with how things are, but you're going to keep Gerard Mayo and you're going to change some of the staff. How are you going to get coaches here then? Because they're all going to think that Gerard Mayo's in the hot seat in 2025, and now you have this, where he threw a guy who's been in the industry for a long time under the bus. Now, I assume Gerard's going to walk it back tomorrow. The trouble with that is that we've already been down that road a few times.
Too many times.
And I think Gerard's got a great potential as a coach, but it's starting to feel like if you're the Crafts and you're looking at it and it's like we only have one shot at Mike Vrabel, Like, how do you compare what's happened here versus Vrabel? And on that field today, right?
Were you inferring that Mayo probably talked himself onto the hot seat today, Albert?
I think he may have, yeah. I can't remember seeing a comment like that from a head coach in 20 years covering.
No, that's the first time I've heard this because I just saw it. It just appeared on my Twitter page. But it's exactly what I said. When you hear the comments, when you hear that, ask this.
Consider running Drake in that situation. That it's a short yard situation. You know, he can run.
You said it, I didn't.
All right.
Then go tell. Then you still have. It's still your responsibility, Gerard Mayo. You are the head coach. You can overrule coordinators. It happens a lot. I remember an old clip of Giants clip of Bill Parcells screaming at Bill Belichick, among other things, saying that's why you'll never be a head coach. That's one thing he said to him one time during the game on the sideline. But and you've seen it. I bet a lot of you have seen this clip. There's from NFL Films where Parcells is on the sideline and he's like, "Give it to him again, Bill. Give it to him again." Meaning he wanted a more blitz, and Bill had his reasons. They were good ones why they did like a zone blitz and backed out of it. He goes, "No, that's not what I wanted. Give it to him again." Okay. So the head coach always has the final say, and I can't believe I can believe it. There's an absolute disconnect between him and the staff. There's no question about it. And that absolutely was throwing Alex Van Pelt under the bus. There's no other way. There's absolutely no other way to come up with any more definitive answer than that. That's the analysis. It's what I thought. It's what these guys think as well, covering the team. And I do think Gerard Mayo. I think they're all on the hot seat. They all stink. It's awful. It's terrible. And they should have hired Mike Vrabel from the get-go. That should have been the man. He did a great job. He should have never got fired in Houston for doing what he did. Or Tennessee, with that nut job of an owner. So, I mean, it was crazy. But that's about the guy that Jay should have targeted immediately, initially. And I hope that he comes back. That is the kind of guy that they need. All right, Angel. Let's see if we could scroll down. It should be the first. It should be the second one now. Underneath the comments by Albert Bray and Tommy Curran on Get Up. This is the guys on Get Up this morning talking about Josh Allen. Without a doubt, he is the MVP. Shouldn't be leave any doubt anymore in anybody's mind.
I've been watching the game 50 years. I know I am sometimes accused of being prone to hyperbole. I don't think I've ever seen a quarterback play better than Josh Allen is playing right this minute. You played with Brady, who at times felt completely unstoppable. Peyton Manning at times has felt unstoppable. Patrick Mahomes at times has felt unstoppable. And there are others that go in this category. Lamar Jackson, we all know who we're talking about. I don't know that anyone has ever played better than Josh Allen is playing right now. Can I put the full screen up there, which is A18, please? In his last two games, Josh Allen has accounted for 10 touchdowns and 0 turnovers. He's accounted for 854 yards of total offense, 5 passing touchdowns, 5 rushing touchdowns, 0 turnovers. He also has, for whatever this is worth, the most fantasy points in consecutive games by a quarterback since the merger, which is relevant only because it gives you an indication of the various ways in which this man is filling up a stat sheet. He is an avenger. He is unstoppable.
I mean, it's incredibly difficult to defend.
And when you put him in there with the Tom Bradys of the world, all right? Because Tom Brady, I've seen him do it with a lot less at receiver and all that. This man is playing. This is a rebuild year.
Yeah.
He played without his 2 top receivers for years. Just came in the league. We're just going to give him anybody. And look at the year he's having. Like, it's crazy. The MVP, if anybody votes for somebody other than Josh Allen for the MVP, take their MVP vote away and give it to somebody who actually knows the game. This is a joke.
Yeah, no, I still think, I agree with everything those guys just said, but Saquon Barkley is going to get votes, and he should. There's no, I don't think it'll be unanimous. It may be, and those guys are absolutely right. To me, it's no doubt. But when you talk about most valuable player, you got to have Saquon Barkley in that conversation. I think he has meant that much to the Philadelphia Eagles. Maybe not to the extent that Josh Allen is to Buffalo. And they're right. Josh Allen right now is on another level. I mean, he is absolutely unstoppable. Really is. Throwing and running the ball. And hopefully he stays healthy for the rest of the year. All right, one more video here, Angel, and I'm going to get a couple of preview cuts here for the Minnesota-Chicago game. That's if you scroll down underneath that, Barstool Sports. This is the one and only Frank Fleming. You've seen him before. Ranting and raving about the also pathetic Miami Dolphins yesterday and their loss.
They're going to trade Tyreek Hill for a fourth-round pick, and then trade the fourth-round pick and 3 first-round picks to get Alshon Jeffrey. And then there's a guy in college football. I forgot his name is. He runs the 40 in 3 seconds flat. If he's touched, he fumbles. They call him the human pass dispenser, and he can't catch a pass. They call him Butters McGee, and he's all to the draft number 1. Because says, all you need is speed. They're going to have him run the ball, and as soon as he runs the ball, he's going to go, oh no! He actually carries the ball like this. Chris Greer says they're going to trade up every draft pick for him, and Chris Greer's going to go, oops! He said that Chris Greer said that he's happy that they're a tough team. They're the softest fucking bunch of ballless, heartless, fucking shitheads ever.
Seemed appropriate.
I was waiting for him to lose it the way he was biting his glasses. Like, he's got to be getting ready to say something. Yep, sure did. It went to the
All right, quickly before we go to break, Bears at Minnesota tonight. Jalen Johnson says the Bears losing streak. Boy, it's been a tough one.
Honestly, I would say checking myself. I think starting with just showing gratitude, honestly, because it's been a tough few weeks, few months now at this point. So I mean, honestly, just thanking God for the opportunity to play this game. Because I mean, it could.
Hey, thanking God the losing streak. Yay! That's outstanding. Oops, what did I do? I hit the wrong button. Yeah. Hang on. Let me do that again because I cut it off by accident, I think. Yeah.
Honestly, I would say checking myself. I think starting with just showing gratitude, honestly, because it's been a tough few weeks, few months now at this point. So I mean, honestly, just thanking God for the opportunity to play this game. Because I mean, it could be a lot worse. I cannot be healthy. I can not do a lot of things. I cannot be playing the game that I love. So, I mean, honestly, just showing gratitude. And then with that brings me more motivation to keep going out there and playing, knowing that I have more opportunities to play. And, again, cherishing these moments with the guys in the locker room. I mean, we want to compete. I mean, not even want to compete. We go and compete, and we want to play and win every game that we can. But sometimes it doesn't work out like that. But we can still have fun, still approach the game the right way, have the right attitude. And at the end of the day, it's all about gratitude at this point.
All right. Thomas Brown on DeAndre Swift.
Swift in particular, do you want him, are you pleased with the amount of time that he hits the hole when he's supposed to hit it versus when he tries to make more out of it?
Yeah, so I'll go a couple steps back. I believe that every running back is dependent on the O-line, but I do believe that special backs can create for themselves. So what I mean by that is you can turn a 4-yard play, a play that's blocked before, into an 8+ yard run that can win the one-on-one opportunities. I don't know any back in history, even though Barrett's my favorite, that's not dependent on the O-line. You still need those guys to I know what you meant, though, but just to clarify that. But I think as far as Swift goes, I think it's about being able to understand how to be detailed, which he's been. And obviously, not always. I think with special guys have special ability, not trying to search up and hunt up the home run play, to be consistent with that, to take efficient runs, 4, 5, 6 yard runs, and be able to obviously maximize what opportunities you have when they present themselves.
Yeah, what he said. I like the Vikings big tonight. I think they know with the Lions losing that the division is absolutely within reach, and we'll see what happens. All right, quick break, Angel. When we come back, Lisa Mann and Carrie Phelps from Scottish Terrier Rescue of the Southeast. Amazing ladies, and their significant others do a great job. I want to try to raise as much money as we can this week for this incredible organization. As and I have the lovely Luna who's going to join us. That we got her a few months ago from these wonderful people. It's an amazing organization. Wait till you hear some of the stories, and they all end up with happy endings. It's because of these wonderful people, what they do for this organization. So that coming up in a couple of minutes here. And then Sean McAdam at the bottom of the hour, we're talking about all things that happen in Dallas. And I'm not talking about SMU with the Cowboys. No, the baseball winter meetings were last week. Sean was there. We'll break it all down. He'll tell us all why and try to convince me, and I am convinced already, that Garrett Crochet is going to be the American League Cy Young Award winner next year. Mark it down. Anyway, it's all that coming up next here on the Pete Sheppard Show on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Jim and the Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our 2nd location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish. Now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu.
Hey guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it gardenia. It's pronounced Chardonnay.
Hey everybody, it's Pete Sheppard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft, implement, and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check out my friend Lou DiMuzio and Ace Technology Advisors.
Ion Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, iontp.com. Ion Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by Ion Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
Okay, men, this is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. It's up to you. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna go grocery shopping, cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments. Don't you forget about the pharmacy. I know you won't, because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. This is your time to show the world, your family, and yourself that you're tougher than tough. Now go out there and be the best caregiver this world has ever seen.
Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick and proud aunt. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing. But not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. 1 in 6. That little girl sitting alone at the playground, she can't play like the other kids. She doesn't have the energy because she's hungry. School lunch will be her only meal today. It breaks my heart that this is the reality in our country, but it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. This food is then provided to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about using your imagination, learning, and having fun. These children shouldn't have to miss out on simply being a kid because they're hungry. To find out how you can help end childhood hunger in your community, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
You're listening to The Pete Sheppard Show.
Let me go get the star. Hang on a second. All right, welcome back to the Pete Sheppard Show. Oh, she's so funny. That was my Scotty Terry Luna. And welcome everybody back. It's hour number 3 of the Pete Sheppard Show here on the Coastal Sports Network. Thanks everybody for checking us out across the video platform on Twitter, X at PShep326, at Facebook, and also Tampa Joe's. And yeah, Rick said, once we get Pete up at Tampa Joe's, I'm going to give an Eagles shirt. I will not wear an Eagles shirt. Last time I was there, I had a great time. It was for a Lightning game. It was a great time. I will not wear an Eagles shirt. Thanks for checking us out also on Ion TV, CSN Florida, Rumble, Kick, Spotify, LinkedIn, Twitch, YouTube. And call or text the show, 727-858-6650. That is the number to call. I told you that this part of the show was going to be very special for me, and we welcome, Kerry's here. Is Lisa there as well? Kerry Phelps and Lisa Mann here, the Scottish Terrier Rescue of the Southeast, are here. Good morning, Kerry. How are you? Sorry, Luna couldn't hang out more.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for taking a few minutes. How are you?
Good. Just, busy with dogs. Got a new foster yesterday. So he's keeping us on our toes.
I heard. We'll get into that in a second. Is Lisa going to be joining us as well?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the plan.
Okay. All right. So we'll start with you. First of all, and you're both based in South Carolina, right?
So sort of. Lisa is in the Spartanburg area of South Carolina, and I'm actually a little further north in the Charlotte area of North Carolina. So.
Okay. That's wonderful. Okay, now how did you two, how long you been friends, and how did you decide to get into rescuing, not just rescue in general, but why Scotty Terriers, which I'm very thankful for.
Sure. Yeah. So, of course, we met because of dogs, right? So, I'm a registered veterinary technician. I've spent my career working in open intake municipal shelters. And that's how Lisa and I met. We had a Scotty come in, and I really didn't know a ton about the breed, but I knew they were not for everyone. This particular dog had some medical needs that were pretty obvious. And so started seeking out breed specific placement options and came across the rescue, reached out to Lisa, got an immediate response with a plan in place immediately, and felt like I was talking to myself. She had a plan for pickup. She was committed, just really high standard and professionalism, and of course caught my attention. And so we hit it off. We stayed friends. And while I don't personally own a Scottish Terrier, I've had pit bulls my whole adult life. And so that tenacious, strong personality that we see in Scotties, I'm very accustomed to. And just, I want to give back. I want to be involved. And being someone who's a veterinary professional, I have a pretty high standard when it comes to not cutting corners on veterinary care, public education, and just offering well-rounded support, right? And that's what this rescue does. And I wasn't going to miss the opportunity to be involved in that.
It's wonderful. Again, Carrie Phelps and Lisa Mann is going to be joining us hopefully shortly from the Scotty Terrier Rescue of the Southeast. And it's the first rescue I ever had with Luna. I am so glad. Not that I was ever against it or anything like that. I thought, at one point in my life, way back, it wasn't my cup of tea. Thank God my wife, Elaine, saw on Facebook and found you guys. And as soon as I saw Luna and what she had been through, and just her, being sold on Facebook for $10. And I immediately felt anger and rage. And I'm like, that poor little thing. I can't even, and there's been, worse stories than her, and you guys do an unbelievable job. And I told this to Lisa the other night, and if you're uncomfortable about talking about that, but I feel the rage because it makes me want to call the police on some of these people. And it's not something where, it's one thing where the kids have an allergy or something happens, maybe the dog bites somebody. I understand all that stuff. But some of the rescue that you guys have done, it breaks your heart until you see the wonderful happy endings that happen. You just had a wonderful, Luna had her issues and being sold on Facebook for $10. You just had lovely Julep who just got adopted. What she went through, somebody using her as a breeder for, at such a young age. It's disgusting. Having 11 teeth pulled right on her or whatever it was. An amazing job. I don't know how you ladies and your significant others do it. It really is amazing. But these heartbreaking stories, they all end in happiness.
They do. Yeah. And I'll add to that. We certainly see our fair share of sadness and neglect and, stories that make us angry, but we can't stress enough how much we also see stories that aren't those things. It's our goal to be a resource before anything else. So we want to make sure that we're going to bat for these dogs, right? And we're giving them everything they need. But we're also supporting the families that are attached to them and those situations and trying to come into it objectively and not judge them, because while there are really sad situations that these dogs come from, there are also, like our newest intake, there are so many situations where life happens and these families are making the heartbreaking decision to place these dogs somewhere because they know it's what's best for the dog. And we want to make sure that we're supporting that as well, because with every dog, there's a person, and some, yes, they come from terrible situations, but so many of these, the family themselves are struggling, and we want to make sure that we're supporting them as well. And so, like with our most recent rescue, it's, it was not a good situation for him in the household. He needed different things and he was stressed, and we want to support them. It was hard. We picked the dog up and we're watching the kids cry, and that's,
Yeah.
that's hard. That's hard for us. It's especially hard for them. So
No, I
it's
understand. And um, let's talk about the vetting process, which you all have over there, which is
hard.
phenomenal. I mean, this is not just somebody calls you up and say, "Hey, I got a Scotty, bit somebody, or
Mhm.
somebody died," and we're trying to do what's best for the
Mhm.
dog. It goes way deeper than that. I mean, you
Right.
really look into what the dog's specific needs are, and when they
Mhm.
come to either you or Lisa, you
Mhm.
provide them with everything, or you get a feel of what they do need.
Mhm.
And the families who are going to adopt one of these dogs, you have to. It's a very thorough process, which is amazing, which you both do to
Mhm.
make sure that whatever Scotty goes into the right situation for that particular Scotty, and they're all different.
Mhm. It is very different, and I have to say, again, that's what drew me to Scottish Terrier Rescue of the Southeast. As a registered veterinary technician, I hold veterinary care to a certain standard. I don't want to see corners cut. I don't want to see. We're no better if we're not providing all the care a dog needs medically, then we're no better than the people who didn't provide it in the first place. And so Lisa gets all the props here because these dogs come in and, you know, they're just given the space that they need.
Mhm.
But the first thing that we do is catch up on vet care, and we make sure that we're not just assuming that this dog is mean or
Sure.
whatever. We want to make sure that we're able to say, this behavior is not happening because he's in pain
Mhm.
or
Yes.
because he's sick and just hiding it. We want to make sure, and if we do find those things and uncover those things, then we're going to address those immediately. Our most recent adoption, Julep, is the cost of her vet care was close to $3,000, and that doesn't hold a candle to a $400 adoption fee, right? Like
Mhm.
all of that. And so when it comes to veterinary care and having needs met, it's fun and we love it and we enjoy what we do, but it comes down to we have to be able to pay for that.
Yeah.
And we can't do that without support.
And that's where, and we say good morning to Lisa Mann, who's finally joined us. Good morning, Lisa. Thanks
Yes,
for taking
I
a few minutes.
apologize. I am tech challenged and I couldn't get the computer
Link.
to pull it up and I couldn't get the iPad to pull it up. So I thought, let me go to the phone.
Well, I'm so glad you're here. We've been
Yes,
chatting.
I was about to have a panic attack and a little meltdown there for a second.
No, that's impossible. No, not come on. After all the stuff that you and Carrie do, we're just talking about amazing. We're just talking about the vetting process, and I asked her about how you guys met and how you came to not just rescue dogs, but why you chose. Why did you? Carrie said she never had a Scotty Terrier, but Lisa, you have, right? And this is what drew you to do this for the
Yes, I
rescue.
was a volunteer at my municipal shelter here in Spartanburg, and I groomed dogs. I did their photography for their website for probably 6 or 7 years, and I started walking through the shelters every time that I was there to make sure that if there were dogs that were purebred dogs, I could get those dogs into rescue and free up those spaces for other dogs that were coming in because shelters are full. And I saw a need that, I had two Scotties of my own at that time. And I did see a need that, hey, maybe I can do something that would help and be beneficial with my own breed that I love. And I joined STRSE in 2012. 2015, the previous president of the rescue, the director, had retired. So I was it. And that's how I got involved with this rescue. And flash forward a couple of years, I met Carrie through a hospice dog that we took in from a shelter that she was running at the time in Gastonia. Uh,
Hmm.
his name was Fergus. That was one
Oh.
of my favorite dogs. He was a hospice dog because he had colon cancer.
Hmm.
Um, we don't see any of these dogs as colon cancer. That's the end. We took that dog to a hospice, a holistic vet, and he received treatment with her and our traditional vet. The traditional vet, when they first saw him and diagnosed him, gave him about a month, two tops. He lived with me for 18 happy months and was just a pleasure to have. And that bonded Carrie and I with the Scotties.
That's fantastic. I had Luna here a little while ago, but she was a little fidgety, so she wanted Carrie got to see her, certainly, and she's a rock star in our neighborhood. She's the sweetest dog, and she's just been terrific. But we were talking about, the outstanding vetting process that you go through and make sure it's so thorough now. And I know you keep updating, but it's because every Scotty is different in certain needs, whether it's beanbag chairs or certain toys, or 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 having good with children, not good with children, good with other dogs, not good with other dogs. I mean, that's a tedious process, but you two are unbelievable at matching up the right Scotty with the right family.
You make us sound really good.
Well, I feel that way. I'm telling you, it's the only anger I have is I want to track down some of these people and shake them. The ones that are really, and just go, what the hell goes through your minds? I mean, you sick, you know what? But then the happy endings from you two, what you do in your organization. I mean, it's amazing. But again, Lisa, let me your words about, is that the most difficult part of doing this, is to try to match up the Scotty with the right family?
Not really, not for me. And I think I could speak for Carrie too, because we're pretty confident and well versed in reading behaviors and getting to know our dog.
Mm-hmm. You muted your microphone. Lisa, you muted your microphone. I could see it from here. It's muted. There you go. Oh, wait, no, she's not there. I see you, Lisa. I can't hear you. You were there, and then we see you, but we can't hear you. You got to unmute your microphone. Angel, can you tell her how to do that? It's on your phone. Just tap on the screen, Lisa, if you can
Okay.
hear. There,
I see.
there you go. There you go. Yeah. So we're talking about the, how you match up. You said it's not the hardest thing that you do, matching up dogs with the families.
No, that's not the hardest thing that I do. I can't, and I think I can speak for Carrie too, because we're pretty confident in how we get to know these dogs, and then we're very thorough in looking at applications and getting to know people so that we can best match them. Hardest part for me is looking a living soul in the eyes when it's been has a broken spirit, or it's been medically neglected, or
Mm-hmm.
has issues that are going on. But there's a flip side to that too, because I know I can fix that, and that's what makes it worth it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, you certainly have, both of you now. Um, Tell everybody about, because I brag about Luna all the time, but what was, when you first got the call about her, and I just want you to tell my audience and that's listening around the country and around the world, which we will get to in a second here, about what she went through, besides being on Facebook for $10,
Yeah.
which is just disgusting in itself. But what did Luna go through before you got her?
Luna was from a family that had a baby. So their circumstance changed when they had the baby. I did receive a lot of. We're pretty well out there as a Scotty Rescue, and from a social media standpoint. So we get a lot of requests from all over the country, and even sometimes other countries.
Mm-hmm.
But I was bombarded with messages about that dog that was being posted, Luna,
Yeah.
and that she was on some website. I can't even remember which one, maybe one of the adoption sites.
Sure.
But she was listed for $10 because the family had a child that was allergic. And so that's how she came into rescue. Now, she did have some flea allergies. Then I think you remember the picture of her
Yes.
with the stripe down her back.
Yeah.
We took her into the vet, especially with the female dogs that are put online free to a good home or for $10.
Mm.
We want to make sure that all those dogs end up in the right hands, whether it's male or female. But we don't want any of our female dogs that are intact to end up in the wrong situation, having puppies and adding to the problem. And that kills a couple of birds with one stone with us, because once we nip that in the bud, the dog is happier. It's less likely to get cancers, certain cancers that female dogs get from hormones. And also, we don't spend the next 10 years cleaning up after backyard breeders, because they see that as an opportunity to make some money.
And I wanted to bring up because Carrie is the one that took care of Julep, correct? This last one that just got adopted.
Yes.
And that was one of the more, since I've known you all for, a few months and online and everything before we go in. But, and now seeing, this was after Luna, that you got Julep, and that dog needed severe dental work, amongst other things, complete neglect, different situation than Luna.
Yes.
And I'm just wondering, Carrie, and I don't know if it was the family that had her that could even face you face to face, or did they have some buffer in between, bring it because they couldn't? Okay, I can't imagine anybody letting a dog be that neglected, and then having the guts to come and just hand it off to you and say, fix it, basically take my problem away. And she was just like you said, backyard breeding, right? That besides
Yes.
teeth, she was being used, unfortunately, just to reproduce babies for money, puppies for money. I mean, and then you saved her, and she just got rescued adopted by a nice family as well. But what was that like for you with Julep these last couple of months? I mean,
Well,
amazing.
I think the important thing about that is to know that the perspective is completely different. We're emotionally involved in these dogs and understanding what their needs are. But for these breeders who, and I'm going to use that term very loosely, and I'll get back to that in a second. But for these backyard breeders, these poor quality breeders, it's not about doing the right thing by the dog. It's about whether that dog is going to make them money or not. And by this point, Julep was no longer going into heat. And so she wasn't going to have more puppies on the timeline that was necessary. And so they surrendered her. And for them, it's very poor business, but a business transaction, right? Like there's no forward thinking. And I say that I use that term briefly because as a rescue organization, we feel that it's really important to support ethical breeders, right? Like we love this breed and we're passionate about them, and we understand that there's more people that want them than what we have of them available. And it's supply and demand. So if you can just go online and get a puppy very easily, then it's probably not coming from a good situation. And so when we talk about dogs coming from breeding situations, not all breeders are created equal. There are quality breeders who care about the breed, who are doing genetic testing, who are doing behavior testing, who are very, very careful about placement of their dogs. But dogs like Julep, that's not where they're coming from. It's, can this dog make me money or can it not? And if it's not, then we're moving on to the next one. And lucky for her, she ended up coming into heat 2 days after arriving into rescue. So it's as if she knew. So her life might have been very different a couple days later.
Well, and then on top of that, I mean, I believe, Lisa, you guys said she had to have 11 teeth removed, or was it more? I mean, God almighty. But her I guess her main teeth at least stood intact. And the demeanor of her over I mean, it was so unbelievable, in a positive way. But that's got to be heartbreaking. You take the dog initially to the vet, and he tells you you're going to have 11 teeth out. I mean, oh my Lord, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, we always try to focus on the fact that we're grateful that we have the support to be able to do that, to be able to go in and say, let's meet whatever needs this dog has, right? And we know that rather than focusing on how sad it is, we know how life-changing it's going to be. She came home from surgery ready to just absolutely play. I mean, her mouth was so infected and so painful. And just night one, she was a completely different dog. And it's hard not to focus on that. And when you see it every day and do it every day, if you constantly sit in the negative, then you're going to burn out and you're going to become bitter. And we have to be able to support our families that are surrendering dogs, quality breeders. And we have to kind of focus on the positive. We have to deal with the negative. It's there. It's necessary. It's why we're needed. But for our own, for our own sake, we try to focus on what positive things are going to come out for these guys.
Yeah, we're speaking with Lisa Mann, and that's Kerry Phelps, the Scottish Terrier partner, Scottish Terrier Rescue of the Southeast. And a few minutes left here. I had friends. I've been lucky enough to, go to Europe a few times, but I've never got to Scotland. But my friends went last year and sent me the most marvelous pictures of these gigantic Scotty Terrier statues that, just huge in front of these castles and all that stuff. And we'll talk in a second about, how many requests you get in this country, but what about other countries? I think Lisa had mentioned Sweden and everything else, but I would wonder just initially, did anybody from Scotland ever try to contact you? I mean, Scotty Terriers, obviously, this is Scotland. I mean, there should be, but has anybody ever tried to contact you from Scotland about a rescue dog that you have?
We are very much out in the public eye, more so than the other Scotty rescue groups across the country. And there's several across the country that are really reputable, but being that we're so transparent and we're always posting what we're doing, because we believe that people that donate to this rescue should see how their money is spent, and they should feel good about how that changes these lives. We get requests and applications from all over Europe. I've had several from Scotland. I've even had requests to take dogs in from places as far as Africa.
Oh my Lord.
But it's just because our presence is out there and we're well known in that community. So I don't think sometimes I don't think that people realize that we're located in the United States, and we can't we don't want to send our dogs overseas.
I get it, and I'm so glad that we met the qualifications for Luna, and she had a thing which I had never heard of. We had a previous Scotty Terrier for 14 years, Chara. I'd never heard of Scotty cramp until we came. Until we knew what was and that was all about. And it seemed like a minor thing, but
Yes.
I know that you felt that because we're here in Fort Myers and the weather is generally, beautiful, 75, 80 degrees on average and sunny every day, that part of it was not just Elaine and I are sweet people, but that the environment here, the weather and everything would be a great attribute for her.
Yes, Scotty cramp. In my experience, I've noticed that. Let me just explain what that is. It's something that's prone to Scotties, obviously, hence Scotty cramp. It's when the brain is trying to tell the muscles in the legs or in the dog to move, and they get either excited, cold, stressed. I've noticed that those are factors that cause that to flare up. She had a minor case of that, but when I saw that gait the first day that she was here, she was a little stressed because she didn't know what was happening. And I knew what that was because I've seen it before. So, that's what the good thing is about this rescue, is that we're able to take those dogs and put them in the environment that they would thrive best in. And what that looked like for her was being somewhere where it was warm, where she wouldn't have Scotty cramp flare up in the winter months if she were up north or even here. And it just was a perfect case scenario for her. And that's our goal, is to make sure that all of our dogs are placed in appropriate homes based on their personality traits and their needs. And her personality trait fit great with you guys. Plus the need that she had to be in a warmer climate worked out because you were in Florida.
Well, we had to come up right after Hurricane Milton and fly up to Charlotte, and then drive over. And then we were so close to your house, where there's a big freaking gigantic tree in front of the one road that gets to your house. And
Yes.
I just turned around and went backwards the other way and prayed that the joining road, because you are in sort of a rural area, beautiful home, by the way, with a ton of land. I still don't know how your husband cuts all that grass, but but it was I was ready to get a chance, because I was like, I was going to walk and get her. There wasn't any way we were not going to bring her back. It was well worth the 11-hour drive home for flying there, and we were just absolutely determined. And she was a sweetheart. As soon as we got her in the car, it was like she had been with us forever. It was so nice.
Yeah.
Before I let you girls go, you ladies, wonderful ladies, go and what you do, I've asked you that. I've asked Lisa this before. I'm going to ask both of you, Carrie, as well. But after all the hard work you put in, and you do amazing work of rescuing these Scotty Terriers, how difficult is it for you two to let them go? I know they're going to a wonderful environment when they get adopted, but my God, how do you do it?
We joke and say that some are easier than others. but with Julep recently, there were a lot of tears. But if you push through that and you do it enough times, you see them doing so incredibly well. And you know that frees up that space. And I can use that space to adopt that dog and give it happily ever after, or I can use that space for my skill set that I know that most people don't have, right? And I can give these dogs what they need, and I'll send that one on to be successful. So that spot can either hold one dog or it can hold an unlimited number of dogs. So that part makes it a lot easier.
In my case, and Carrie's too, this rescue is breed specific. So we're not inundated with hundreds and hundreds of dogs that we can't keep up with. And just like our friendship with you and Elaine, we stay in contact with the families that adopt our dogs, which makes it a lot easier because we're able to see them thrive and move on. And we watch them throughout the rest of their lives and know that, if it weren't for the safety net of this rescue and our ability to let those dogs go on to live in their own lives, then they would have never had that opportunity. And that makes me happy.
That's awesome. Well, we're going to try to get you as much money this week as we can here. The webpage and how to donate is going to be up with us right here. It's up now at scottysoutheast.org. You can go to the website. Any other information our listeners need to know about your wonderful organization?
I think one thing, especially when we talk about fundraising, that I think is important to understand is how far reaching the money is and when it's donated and how impactful it is, because Scottish Terrier Rescue of the Southeast is 100% volunteers. And I'm going to give Lisa a lot of props here because we can bring dogs in and we can love them and train them and do the hard stuff. But she wears all the hats. She's doing the paperwork behind the scenes. She's making sure that everything needed for tax documentation is in place. That stuff's not fun, and that's not the stuff that is seen, but that stuff happens. And she's doing that on her own time. So we're not paying someone to do that. Lisa and I groom the dogs while they're with us. So we're not spending money at a groomer. Like, she photographs the dogs and does a wonderful job. And so when money gets donated, it is going directly to these dogs and nowhere else. And then outside of that, and another place Lisa doesn't give herself enough props is the amount of community outreach. Some people might hear Scottish Terrier Rescue and think, well, gosh, that's not really a breed I know about or care about. But this rescue cares so much about community outreach, whether that's supporting local law enforcement, local pet food banks, recently with Hurricane Helene, supporting other rescue groups in the trenches. It's further reaching. And like Lisa mentioned earlier, there's so much transparency that comes with it. We feel like if you trust us enough to make it support us, then you should know where your money's going. You should know exactly where your money's going.
I'll piggyback on that, Pete, and let you know because I do all the paperwork and I know what goes where. And just to make sure that the Hurricane Helene disaster that happened in Western North Carolina, we are Southeast. And we have a lot of dogs in that area. So, I did reach out to my families in the Western North Carolina areas and make sure that our dogs were all safe and everybody had what they needed. But we also partnered with 2 other rescue groups and donated 200 bags, small bags of food because people were just had nothing left. And it's a very pet friendly area. So everybody there has pets. We also had and I believe that this was a God wink. A couple months ago, greatergood.org had donated over 1,000 doses of flea, tick, and heartworm preventative to us. We had no idea how are we going to use all of this because we're breed specific. We don't have 1,000 dogs, But like I said, I believe that was a God wink because we partnered with 2 other rescue groups and made sure that that was handed out to the people that were in need after the hurricane hit and they had nothing, which helped greatly in those areas. And that donation alone was worth a lot of money, and we just paid that forward because it was donated to us.
Well, you ladies are incredible. I know your significant others are as well, helping you out. But what you two do is just amazing. So, again, we're going to have the webpage up and all the instructions are on it, right, and how to donate, whatever. It's $1, 100, whatever it is. Want to keep it up until Christmas and hopefully raise some money for your wonderful organization.
We appreciate it.
All right, Lisa, Carrie, thank you so much, and I will keep sending you pictures and videos obnoxiously of Luna, just so you can have.
Please
them.
do.
Everybody says that they don't want to bother me with the pictures and the updates and the videos. Bother both of us, because that's what keeps us going.
Good. We'll continue to do that. Thank you so much, ladies. We'll talk again soon, I promise.
Absolutely. Have a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas.
All righty. Now, also listening, I know, and thank you, Sean McAdam, who's here from MassLive.com, fresh off of eating free food in Dallas at the baseball winter meetings. And I'm wondering.
I must have missed that, Pete. I didn't see the free food. And let me apologize for Friday, Pete, with the time difference and getting ready to fly out. I apologize for missing Friday's show. I owe you.
I said you were breaking another Red Sox story or another big baseball story. That would be the only reason acceptable for you. Or I also did say the airport. There's always that. So no, that's no worries, my friend. That shit happens. But yeah, I've always warned because when we were at the Super Bowl last year in Las Vegas, it was awful. Media accommodations were terrible. And of course, it's all about us. I mean, when you have a bucket of potato chips on every table, no matter where you worked, it was a little. So nothing for you baseball guys either.
No, they wheeled in a couple of cases of Diet Coke on day one, and that was the last of it. So I didn't see any other handout food after that. We do get, it is a winter meetings tradition that you, on the last full day, everyone's in a big ballroom and you have breakfast with the manager of the team you cover, and they do provide breakfast there, and that was nice. But that's the extent of the free stuff, unfortunately.
Well, let's get into it. I have already proclaimed, and having watched this guy last year, I do get the baseball package down here, and I mean, not let anybody watch a whole bunch of White Sox games, considering they were one of the worst teams in the history of the game. But I got to tell you, I wish they had gotten Soto. I understand that, but I would almost rather have an ace, and I think this guy is an ace. I think he's going to be almost, if not as good when he's at his peak, a better version of Chris Sale. And I'm talking about Garrett Crochet. He is awesome. He's got filthy, nasty stuff. Can throw hard. He's got about 4, maybe 5 different pitches. He's a lefty. And I've already said, I can tell you right now, Sean, I really believe he will be, if he stays healthy, he'll be a Cy Young contender in the American League. I really, really believe that on this Red Sox team. I believe that.
Yeah, I don't disagree, Pete. I think it was a good deal. I like Crochet a lot. I wrote about them being in on him back in October, and it didn't surprise me that it's funny that this kind of courtship had, as courtships do, had its ups and downs. They were very involved in October. Then in November, in the lead up to the winter meetings, they seemed to be focused elsewhere. And then they swooped back in and outbid 4 or 5 other teams to provide the best package to get Crochet. There's a lot to like here. He's 25 years old. You have 2 more years of control. I should say that, a lot of the enthusiasm is contingent on them getting him extended, which they absolutely have to do. If this ends up just being a 2-year rental.
Like now. Don't you like now? Not
yeah,
dilly
I would expect that that's going to be a point of emphasis over the winter. Maybe not in the next couple of weeks, but you get to mid-January and your roster's kind of done, and then you start looking into maybe extending some of your younger guys the way they did with Bayo and Rafaela last spring. So I would think that's going to be a real priority here. But this guy checks all the boxes. Left-handed, as you mentioned, which they didn't have on their staff or in the upper reaches of their farm system.
Unbelievable.
Absolutely filthy stuff with a fastball in the high 90s. I think that what they kind of did was try to go find the next Tariq Skubal, the guy that's ready to break out at 25 or so. And everybody loves this guy's stuff. And as I said, now it's a matter of locking him up to make sure that, and this is one of the nice things about getting a 25-year-old rather than bidding for a 31-year-old Max Fried or a 30-year-old Corbin Burns. You are buying this guy's prime. So even beyond the 2 years that you have him under control, if you extend him for another 5 or 6, you're still talking about 33, 34 at the end of that deal. That's really the sweet spot of a pitcher's career in the big league. So, they got the hard part done, but they still have the matter of getting an extension taken care of here.
Now, we saw what Fried got, right? Close to well over 200 million. So what would somebody like Crochet, I mean, we're talking about somewhere between 250, 300 million for the extension you're talking about. In this day and age.
I don't know if you can project that high because, a lot of it, I guess, depends on when it gets done. Mm-hmm. If they do it before the year, then he and his agent have 32 career starts in the big leagues, as good as they were. He doesn't have as much experience or the resume that you might have on the open market. So I don't know that it's necessarily going to be that big, but it's certainly going to be expensive, and they have to be ready to pay it.
What's your gut feeling? Will they pay it?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think you go into making a deal like this, giving up one of your top 4 prospects, giving up, your last 2 first-round picks, unless you are prepared to pay the going rate and get him locked up.
Well, and hoping that is the case. Now, what's going on with Burns? The Red Sox have been linked to him, right? He hasn't signed with anybody the last couple of days.
Yeah, no, he's still out there, but I have my doubts about whether they go that route. I think they might either possibly look to trade for another pitcher or sign a free agent, along the lines of maybe somebody like Walker Buehler, maybe Jack Flaherty. Someone of that level. I don't know that you necessarily need to have another number 1. I mean, it'd be nice, but remember, there are other needs here. They need a righty bat.
Yeah.
They probably need another back-end bullpen guy, whether that's Tanner Scott or, somebody else that's available via trade or free agency. So I don't think they're necessarily aiming to spend $250 million on Corbin Burns, but I do think they want additional depth in that rotation. I mean, if they started the season with Crochet, Houck, Cutter Crawford, Bayo, and Giolito, that's a pretty good 5. And then you've got a couple of guys at AAA that can serve, like Criswell and some others that can serve as depth, but I think they would like another proven major league starter. I just don't think it's going to be somebody who costs as much as Burns because they have other needs they have to take care of.
Well, Giolito would have been their ace, quote unquote ace, going into the season last year had he not gotten hurt. Now, what's the timeline for him to be back at, somewhat full strength?
Yeah, well, remember the elbow surgery that he underwent was not full-fledged Tommy John. Mm-hmm. It was a modified version of it. So the recovery time should be less. I think the expectation is that he can go into spring training pretty much as he would a normal year, but that's still to be determined. I think he's not had any setbacks, but I think they're also going to be a little careful. Maybe he's not ready for March 27th, but if he isn't ready by then, it won't be, it won't be a long delay. At least that's the expectation.
What again? Speaking with Sean McAdam, baseball insider from MassLive.com. Before we get into some outside of the Red Sox here, but what's your gut feeling? How competitive? I know it's asking you to look into a crystal ball, and I'm sure there's some signings that are going to happen or whatever. But how confident? I'll rephrase it. How confident are you that this team can be able to compete? I won't even say that just for a playoff spot this upcoming year.
Yeah, I think so. Look, it's a tough division. The Yankees, even with losing Soto, have made some big moves with Max Fried and Devin Williams. They are still in need of a replacement in the outfield for Soto. And let's face it, that guy doesn't exist. You're not going to go out and get the kind of production that Soto provided, but they can go find somebody. And they need somebody either at second or third base, maybe even first base too. So the Yankees have a lot of work to do, but their pitching staff has gotten better. There's no question they upgraded in the rotation and at the back end of the bullpen. Baltimore looks like they're losing Burns. They did sign Tyler O'Neill. Toronto is kind of trying to figure things out. Tampa Bay is, scrounging up the nickels and dimes as they usually do, but usually they're better than everyone thinks they're going to be. But I think the Red Sox can be a playoff competitive team. There's work to do. They need that righty bat. They need additional starting depth. They need some more bullpen help. But just getting a guy like Crochet to be the number one guy and head that rotation and be potentially in place for a while puts them on the right path, I think.
How do you think Chapman's going to fit in here with the Red Sox?
Yeah, I mean, you talking about the controversy, or
everybody seems to want to forget the controversy. Which you can debate that and morals and spoil that, but they must have. I'm assuming went through a pretty good vetted process here. I mean, he's obviously talented. He could still chuck the ball in the high 90s. And I don't know your overall thoughts on the signing. Did you think?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think he is best when he's not closing. I don't, he really, he did close for the Pirates over the last 6 weeks or so when Bednar kind of lost the job. And you're always going to have to deal with the walk rate, which has always been high for him, but he also strikes out 14 guys per 9 innings. And he still throws in the high 90s, and he still has dominant stuff. From a baseball standpoint, I think he's going to help. But I think they need somebody else to close, and whether that is Liam Hendricks coming off Tommy John, whether that's Justin Slayton, who showed that he might have the stuff to do that. I think they need one more swing and miss arm for the back end of the bullpen. But strictly from a baseball standpoint, I think Chapman will help.
Did the subject of a salary cap come up at all last week down in Dallas with Commissioner Manfred and others? Because, I mean, the next contract, Sean, it's going to be $1 billion plus. That's going to be the next biggie. It's going to be $1 billion plus. And we always talked about for years, you get paid what the market bears. But all the other sports have gone to a salary cap, and I know that it's going to be very difficult to try to persuade, the MLB Players Association to get there at some way, shape. But doesn't it have to happen at something? Doesn't there have to be something? Because this is it's crazy. I mean, where is it going to end?
Well, Pete, can't you say that about other sports as well? I mean, yeah, other sports do have a salary cap, but that doesn't stop gargantuan contracts from being signed in the NBA and NFL. I have never been one to be on board the salary cap train. I think that the whole notion of owners saying, please save us from ourselves, institute something that stops us from spending. If you don't want to spend, then don't spend. I don't like the idea of a salary cap. I can tell you that it was first proposed back in the 80s. The union bitterly opposed it then. Some 40 years later, the union will bitterly oppose it now. There are some war hawks among baseball owners who are intent on getting this into the new CBA, which is up after the 26th season. So there's 2 more seasons that cover this. I think it goes to right around November 1st or the end of the World Series in 2026. If owners are intent on a salary cap, we're going to have a work stoppage for 27. There's no way around that. I noted in a column last week, if you look at the breakdown of Juan Soto's contract, there is in every year going forward, when you take out the signing bonus, he's going to be paid $46 million plus in every year over the next 15, except one. Dips down to 42, which we could all probably get by on, but it dips down to 42 in the 2027 season. And if I'm reading between the lines, that's Scott Boras taking precaution in case there is a shutdown that wipes out part of the 2027 season. That's how I can think of no other explanation for that. I haven't got anybody to confirm that, but that raised some eyebrows for me. There is talk that there's going to be a push for a cap, and just as predictably, if that happens and the owners don't relent, then the 2027 season will not start on time. I'll guarantee you that right now.
Okay, and I'm with you. I get it. I'm just wondering though, how do you get these owners? We're all, multi-millionaire billionaires, most of them. How do we know they're doing the right thing, trying to get their product to attract fans? You look at teams, like the Marlins. You look at teams, I don't even Colorado right now. The White Sox. I mean, Oakland. They have zero chance. Zero. Yep. This is not. You can't do Moneyball again, Billy. Can't do that again. That's just you can't. You can have all the analytics you want. You got to have the cash. How are these other teams going to try to compete? And do they have the money to compete? It's just the owners are stingy. I mean, there's
no question that a lot of these teams that elect to have payrolls under 100 million or just over 100 million are cheating their fan base and do have the resources to spend more, but they don't. And maybe rather than looking for a concession from the Players Association and the players themselves, if the owners were more obviously trying to win and put a good product on the field, there wouldn't be a need for a salary cap. When you look at the amount of money that teams get from the national TV package, granted, it's not that of the NFL. Nothing is. We know that the NFL is in a class by itself when it comes to TV revenue. But baseball teams still get somewhere between $60 and $70 million a year from their cut of the national TV package. All those teams you mentioned get revenue sharing payouts that are worth tens millions more. And that's before they sell Ticket One or before they have any local partnerships or sponsorships from local corporate and their local media deals. There are teams, excuse me, that have local TV deals that are worth hundreds of millions of dollars, sometimes billions of dollars. So it's there. But you've got a lot of these small market teams crying poor mouth. But teams like Tampa Bay, teams even like Kansas City over the last decade have shown that if you have good management, that you can at least compete for the postseason. It's hard to win it all when you're a small market team. Tampa Bay has never, as we know, won a World Series. But the Royals did about 10 years ago. Yep. So smart management can overcome, and make up some of that disparity that exists in terms of revenue and spending.
Sean, last thing before I let you go, and thank you for taking a few. Speaking of the Tampa Bay Rays, they're going to be playing down the street from Raymond James Stadium at George Steinbrenner Field, which is a better facility than the Trop, which I think, and is an absolute pit dump, disgusting thing of a stadium. I hated to see what happened, but any buzz of or any influence that anybody down there, Commissioner, any thoughts of where he'd like to see the Rays move to? Either it's Tampa or it's St. Pete or Montreal, for that matter. Any of that
No,
stuff come up at all?
I mean, I'm getting whiplash trying to follow the goings on in Pinellas County and the St. Pete
Yeah.
City Council with funding. I thought this was a done deal, 4 or 5 months ago, where it looked like they had picked out the site in downtown St. Pete, not far from the Trop, and that this was going to be ready for 27 or 28. Now there are all kinds of cost overruns and political back and forth, and it seems to change every day. I mean, I don't live in the area. I don't follow it near as closely as maybe some of your viewers do. But the clear preference is to try to keep the Rays in St. Pete and Pinellas County. But I couldn't tell you what the latest on that is, Pete. I know there's city council meetings. There's county commissioners that are weighing in. There's budget issues. I thought this was resolved even before the hurricane, did its damage and forced them to move across the bay, at least temporarily for 2025. I think the Rays would prefer to stay in St. Pete, but boy, that seems up in the air right now. And the fact that you have two franchises are going to be playing in minor league ballparks in 2025, the A's in West Sacramento and the Rays in Tampa at Steinbrenner Field, is a black. The second one is the result of kind of Mother Nature that nobody could have anticipated. So it's hard to blame baseball for that. But the fact that these two franchises have gone years and years and trying to get their ballpark situation settled, even the A's situation in Vegas does not seem 100% locked in. There's it may take longer, and it just seems like these were not well thought out in either case. And baseball's got to do something to provide some stability. They if they want to expand, they've got to take care of the 30 teams that they have and make sure that they're in adequate facilities before they start taking everyone's money to bring an expansion team in.
Sean, thanks so much. Everybody can check you out at masslive.com. What else you got going on? You writing any books lately?
Not lately, not since we last talked, Pete, but you never know what's in the hopper down the road.
Well, thanks so much. And you'll be down here at spring training in a couple of months, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
I'm 2 miles away, so either
we'll have to
come
get
over for dinner, or I'll take you out to dinner, whatever, for being so kind. And I'm only 2 miles away from JetBlue, and I don't mind the traffic because I don't have to drive.
2 miles. That'll only take a half hour to get there.
Only if there's a game. But I don't. I don't go when I go the back way. There's back ways now. I know how to get.
Yeah, you're a local. You'll have to show me all the shortcuts.
Yeah, definitely will. Sean, thanks so much, and we'll talk again soon.
All right,
and,
happy holidays.
A few months. You too. Happy holidays to you. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Thanks a lot. Sean McAdam from MassLive.com joining us here on the Pete Sheppard Show on the Coastal Sports Network. I know Angel wanted to chime in with Pinellas County because Angel's up in the Tampa area. We've had a few guests on over the last couple of months, and it's a clusterfuck. It's just nobody we've had on can give a definitive answer.
No.
About anything. I mean, it's just it changes on a daily basis, Angel, right?
Well, you figure on Friday, Aaron had put something out as well and mentioned in passing of all of a sudden they approved the repairs to fix the rooftop on the Trop. And then it went from, we got the money to, wait, hold on for a second. We got to vote on something else. Oh, by the way, we have the funding that we need now for the ballpark. Oh, wait, hold on. We want to make sure that we got this. So it's like, what are we going to be there? We're not going to be there. Like, what the heck is going on?
Unbelievable. All right, Angel, we're going to get out of here because we have Martinez and Company coming up right after this show. Let's give you a few minutes to get ready. Full day on the network here on the Coastal Sports Network. So check it out. Angel will update you again. And again, please, donate if you can to the Scottish Terrier Rescue of the Southeast. And I'm going to leave that up, and it'll be linked to Coastal Sports Network up until Christmas, and just a wonderful organization. Can't thank Lisa Mann and Kerry Phelps enough for joining me, and obviously Sean McAdam. So I am Pete. I'm going to walk Luna right now, my Scotty Terrier, and I will be back tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. I know Bees Road Jay Flannelly is going to be joining me at about 8:30, and some other guests coming up as well tomorrow. Full week of guests already. More NFL and college football news to tell you about tomorrow, and we'll get to all of it as always. Angel, have a great show, and I'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. See you, everybody. Bye.